Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stat Check episode 148, an exceedingly French affair. I hope everybody is doing very well on this, the 12th of August. I am Innes. I am joined by Nathan and Jeremy, and we are here to talk about WTC, War Masters, general stats, general vibes for the world, and all that good stuff. But before we dive into that, guys, how you getting on?
Things are going okay over here. I've been playing some 40k hobbying, a little bit of 40k, but mostly unpacking the U-Haul pod that arrived last week. And so I have an entire dining room and living room full of stuff that still needs to be organized, which is fine. But playing some games on TTS, I played an Eldar list into GSC, and that matchup is cursed, and I hate it, and I don't want to play it ever again. Um, never in my life has being a T3 infantry model been worse than watching a 5-man squad of flamer acolytes pop up and then murder the fuck out of you instantaneously.
I like you get to split fire the 5 man in that game. You're like, yeah, man, if I kill like two of each of these squads, they never do anything again, right? Flame.
Also, if they move, well, you can only know Overwatch one of them.
Exactly.
It was definitely a moment of watching not a single unit in the army having the correct firepower to pick up a 20-man neophyte brick even slightly, and I was like, neat. I can kill 5 or 6 of you and then hope for the best.
Also, the first 5 squads you kill just come back.
Yes, I did definitely watch myself need to fight through all of the flamer units a second time and was like, cool, that's great. I love that for my guys. Got nothing to screen in the back. Everything dies in the front. It's fine. Everything's fine. I've been enjoying playing Space Wolves a lot more, mostly because I win into GSC with that army, apparently. So that makes me so much happier. Not into you, Innes. Innes, you're different. I'm not saying it's into you, but I've been enjoying that. I may or may not have 3 Repulsor Executioners in my cart, though, from looking at the Black Templar rules. I don't want to say anything else about it. Look, there's something about just having a spotter unit giving me full rerolls, and that unit still, for some reason, having like 50 fucking guns on it.
Got tie wishes.
But yeah, it's a ton of fun. I don't know. I've been enjoying Marines a lot more lately in the Space Wolf supplement, and then the Black Templar supplement looks like a great time. I will still occasionally play Eldar and be very sad every time I play into the one of the locals who just plays GSC and will make me sad repeatedly.
Basically isn't a real army, and I'm sure after the weekend there's plenty of evidence for, hey, maybe the army shouldn't be as good as it is. So
it might be something we talk about in stats today just a little bit, because I'm sure somebody's going to tell me that their stats say that they're a perfectly reasonable and balanced faction. If we just dust off the top a little bit, maybe it looks a little different, but we'll find out that later.
I'm sure.
Jeremy, how about yourself?
Doing pretty well.
Jeremy,
okay. I got to spend the last week reading the Votann Codex, so that was a ton of fun. And that book is gonna be a lot of fun.
Give us the skinny. What's your hot takes on the Votann
Judgment tokens are gone. All celebration. No longer have to worry about people bitching about them. No longer have to worry about keep them on the table with the appropriate units. No longer have to worry about whether or not a detachment interacts with them, looking at you, Hearthband, even though you're still useless. And then, they've got like 8 new units, probably 6 of which will see regular play, which is pretty awesome. And even the ones that won't probably are like a very small point adjustment away from also being playable. So that all has me very excited. I also, unfortunately, that meant that I went out and got a 3rd land fort. And yes, I did not actually have 3 land forts because I felt it would be hypocritical when I was one of the ones that advocated for them to be heavily nerfed during the 9th Codex release series. But now I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to play 3 land forts at least once. Because
why did they double in shots, Jeremy?
Because they don't have sustained anymore.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's such a big deal.
It's not like you can't just give those big guns that have crit 4
exactly. The land fort now
is significantly
more benefits from the sustain 2 strat that you'll be using on them every time you activate one.
Yeah, but all of its guns like also got better. Like the bolt cannons are now sustained 2, and the auto cannons now sustained 1 for some reason. Also, it ignores all hit mods and rerolls 1s to hit.
At least I get cover against it now.
Unless the Thunderkin unit has shot at you.
I'm taking what I can get. You have the ones that are hard already, so
Yeah, but yeah, the book seems a lot of fun. It has 5 detachments, 3 of which will
No, it
probably it's got like 2.5 detachments right now. But the
it's
2
got
that
the
are named,
token, you should buy 60 Berserks detachment, and also the and then the
I
playable one.
want to put 60 Berserks on the table once, but I know I'll regret it. So, well, actually, I wouldn't put 60 on the table. I would put 50 in Deep Strike and then 10 on the table.
Owning
sounds-
the 50 Berserks in the first place. Why did they have a 4-up Feel No Pain? I appreciate the drop of wound, but 4-up Feel No Pain?
I don't know.
Still, guys.
That was one of the head scratchers when I was writing the review for this book. I guess we can kind of talk about it a little bit more later, but like both Warriors and Berserks gained access to better Feel No Pains when every other book that's come out to date has largely been removing Feel No Pains. Like, you know, the Demon rewrite, both the Keeper Secrets and Shalaxi lost access to their 5-up Feel No Pain in exchange for getting a 3-up armor save instead of no armor save, which was cool, but why? And then, you know, World Leaders lost theirs entirely from the Blessings of Corn and all of these things. I was like, Warriors didn't need to get tankier. They were idiots that ran around doing things and annoyed people when they didn't die. Now they're going to annoy people more. Because you should go read the review, but Warriors now have a 5-up invuln all the time, which is pretty fun.
More invulns in Warhammer. It's totally fine. It's all good. We needed this, right? I can't wait till they give GSC models a 6-up invuln just army wide.
Oh, you can get that just by paying a CP every time someone shoots you.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have to.
It's fine. And also, I do love the idea of running into 3 repulsor executioners when I have 6 beamer kin sitting in my land fort going, please let me shoot that.
What's your range? 24, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, Repex is 35 away. Suck it.
I mean, I can go 16 and shoot.
No, you're behind. You're going to be pinned. You're going to be trapped. You're going to be trapped behind the guys. The Emperor's Champion stood in front of your land for you. You can't go forward.
That sounds like a problem for Burry to solve, and he'll fail at it because apparently 5 attacks is only as good as it can get when you don't have access to rerolls.
5 attacks
Look,
into a
he's
flank seems great.
He is strength 12, which is hilarious.
He's strength 12.
I have watched him punt half of an Atropos across a field. It was very funny. And I say half because
Man's God gift getting damage blanked.
basically, yeah.
Then getting yeeted into the sky.
Also, do those Undead not like they're only 2 wounds now, right?
They are only 2 wounds. If that
Repex overwatches.
You can't overwatch them.
Can't overwatch them?
Yeah, I disembark at the end of my movement phase.
Oh, you're playing that detachment, so you're not having sustain 2 then.
Yeah, I do.
Is that not
Enhancement, baby.
Oh, okay. Cool. Whatever.
There is a whole lot of really fun jank in that book, but also a lot of feels like a chaos book where you kind of got to jump through hoops to make something work.
Yeah. So it's damn, Votann combo got hands. Damn, Votann combo doesn't work.
But it was very funny watching 2 units of 3 Thunderkin take a Lancer from full to 0 when there was 2 land forts and a unit of Steeljacks also looking at that Lancer and going, oh.
So we should talk to Anthony about how you kill knights, because apparently it's not Angron.
Don't do him like that when he's not
brutal.
here. You got to save that for when he's back on the show.
Anthony killed as many models as he scored diff points, so
fuck.
Knights are fine. Knights are fine.
Knights are definitely a perfectly fair, perfectly fine army. However, Chaos Knights seem to be perfectly balanced.
That was into
stats for this weekend.
All right. As for myself, I've, as some people might have noticed, had a bit of a busy week. Since the last time you spoke to me, I've retired to Genestealer cults. They're dead to me now. They will never see the light of day again until I need another event, because I only have 4 out of 5 DC rankings. God damn it, Genestealer cult. So yeah, we were at the WTC, obviously. So I played my 8 games in the War Masters, then my 7 games in the singles. With Genestealer cults, managed to go a combined 12, 1, and 2 across the three events, which I'm very, very happy with. Managed to make the finals of War Masters. Played the wonderful Alban, who is currently in chat. So hello, Alban. Yeah, so I played my last 3 games on stream on War Games Live. So if you want to see Gene Cults scrape themselves across the table for 3 games, you can do that. First game was against Grisha on Space Wolves, managed to scrape that 11-9. Second game was against Luis on Imperial Knights, managed to scrape that 11-9, and then managed to scrape my way to a 10-10, and then losing on tiebreakers to Alban on Virulent Victorum, which was a really, really awesome 3 games. I'm very happy with getting to play all 3 games on stream. Managed to my understanding, confuse the ever living hell out of Joe, who spent the entire time going like, I don't understand what's going on in Gene Circle games, because I don't know what's dead. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the optimal Gene Circle psyop. Yeah, I think Jojo was asking me by the game 2 to please show him please delineate in any way what was dead, and I just did not have the mental capacity to do that. So
You know
whatever
in your head
was
what
dead
and
was
you
there
knew what
somewhere.
you
I
had
think,
brought
yeah.
back, and that was all that mattered.
Yeah, I think he just stopped paying attention to because you know how Joe does the cross off of what's dead on the. I don't think he was doing that just at all for the Gene Stealer cult by the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely trying. I watched all those games, and it was waking up early for the Knights game was pain, but yeah, he tried, and he'd be like, I know this is dead from Alban. I don't know what's dead over here. You just he'd bring up your army list and go, something in this died. He might have brought it back, he might not have.
Mark.
Yeah.
Question mark.
He just gave up. He gave up, especially in the game against Alban. He was like, "Look, there's stuff everywhere." I at one point in chat asked, "So what does each player have left on the table?" I'm not asking what's left in reserves or anything. Just what's on the table. And it was that moment of huh, oh. And to answer your question, Alban, yes, Mini HQ is one of the other websites that we pull our win rate data from, and that's why I wanted to know if you were LBS, because Innes wants to make sure he didn't lose too much elo losing to you.
Exactly. So yeah, it was great to play those 3 games on stream. The game against all 3 of them were really, really awesome games. I'm looking forward to getting the opportunity to watch them back. But the game against Alban specifically was just one of the most enjoyable games of 40K I've played in. And I don't want to date myself when saying this, in 16 years of playing Warhammer, one of the best games I've ever had the pleasure of playing. So yeah, very well deserved by Alban to win that event. He took me all the way to the end, and I had the pleasure of losing on turn 6, which is not a thing many people this edition can say they've managed to do. But as a veteran of 5th, 6th, and 7th editions, it was a true pleasure to get to live that experience again, of getting scammed by the game continuing. Then for the singles event, I got to play against as well. I got to actually lose a game properly. I dove on the Emperor's Children grenade in round 1 against Switzerland. I was like, hey, it's supply drop at tipping point. No one wants to play EC. I'm like, well, it's not going to beat me that bad. Fine. Matrix to 5, got the 8. Going first in supply drop continues to be the most miserable thing you can do.
I saw that pairing and immediately went, oh, Innes's hate for EC is only going to amplify after this.
I got 3 las cannons on the Rhino, top of 1, just none of them converted. It was very sad. I hit all 3 of them and felt the wound with all 3 of them. It's just like, oh, you fucking bullshit. Yeah, it turns out the problem with that game, God, I hate challenger cards. I'm like, I'm getting my 5s, I'm denying him, I'm giving him 0s. I'm like, I'm doing this for 2 points, because he's just gonna get a challenger card because of it. And it's awful. So yeah, that was deeply unpleasant. Didn't enjoy that very much. And then I managed to win 5 of my other 6 games. I got a 10 into Creations of Bile on Search and Destroy. From Jeremy Martino from Australia, who was playing 30 possessed Rotigas and 10 chosen. And that's it's a lot of beef. I think I killed everything but 3 possessed. Which, I'll take that as a Chinsugal army. In that game, I drew the challenger card to go back in reserve, so my unit that was tagged by Fabius Bile left.
That felt the end of the shooting phase 1, right?
Yeah, start of shooting phase. But my unit was tagged, so who cares? It just fell back and then went in reserve. And then rapid ingress into Overwatch the next turn. Other than that, I played against Trukari for a 20-0, Imperial Knights for a 20-0, Votann twice for a 17 and 18, and my final game of the event The event that I leave Host of Ascension with my head held high from was a 17-3 in the mirror.
Who asked for that punishment?
We were both champion.
Oh,
Funny.
I will say that I offered 3 teams the mirror match, and they were the only team that took it, and it was only in the champion spot. I tried really hard to offer it to I offered it to Riley.
Yeah, Riley knows better than to take that.
Everyone's a coward. It's a pure skill game. Like, why don't they just try? So yeah, I think I'll be leaving Host of Ascension alone now. I might return to Gene Cults with some other detachments, especially after Data Slate, if the meta changes a little bit. But I don't feel it. No, I didn't offer it to Riley. Who did it? I think I tried to offer it to Riley and didn't get the chance. I forget. Anyway, I think I offered to like 3 teams. Riley went down first and I didn't attack into it. Oh yeah, we had better options into Riley at that point. That was what it was. Thank you. It's been a long week, guys. Everything I say, please do take it as a advisory of I'm very tired.
Now you have Dickie saying that they wanted it, but you
wanted it, did you? Okay, I'll take your word for it. I suppose it did mean that I didn't get to play into any of the nights.
Canada with their head held high right now for their performance at WTC.
Take Blue Brothers to LGT for BIF. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't hate myself that much. So yeah, outside of that, it was a really great tournament. Leoben is a lovely town to be in, not so much to get to. But the views, like you would go outside into the sunlight and the world would be like it was in high definition because it was so bright and green. It was very, 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 very different.
So it definitely looked like it was from The Sound of Music.
Yeah, it was real pretty. Miserable to get to, not the best food options. But we were just ordering takeouts to the living campus every night. Good to see everybody. Good to good to be there, good to drink, good to see everyone. And yeah, Team Scotland finished 10th, and based on the math that Jeremy did, we should be seed 1 next year if the event stays the same size. And more importantly,
if the event stays the same size or gets bigger,
and Canada won't be unless it goes to 44. So I'm hoping it stays the same size.
That would be very funny. Scotland gets a chance at a rematch.
Yeah, well, no, we'll still have Netherlands and Luxembourg in our group. That's
Netherlands going down. It's going to go down because of this year. Oh no! They're like, we can't escape you any year.
That's my brutal. We get Netherlands and Luxembourg exactly the same. So yeah, it was a great time. I got my medal, got the ring. It's
nice. That's very cool.
It's gonna be a while before I can get one in teams. I got a lot of work to do before we get there, so gotta keep trying. That's
already a hell of an improvement.
6 War Masters down, closest I've done. It's the first time I've made top War Masters. So next time, gotta keep trying. Can't let the French have it 3 years in a row. I can't. I'm stopping them in the teams. Maybe a little bit beyond Scotland's pay grade, but stopping them in the singles, give it a shot.
Yeah, what is it with you Brits and not being able to win at your own game?
I'm sorry. I'm Scottish. The game's English.
Ah, you're British.
That's fine.
Oh man.
Those can both be true.
We broke Nathan. Beautiful.
I'm glad it wasn't the American who said it. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say.
We're still proud members of the Commonwealth here. You guys said fuck off. We don't want your bland food.
True. We did want to not just steal all the spices, but to use them. It is true. We did want to do that. All right. Why don't we transition over to stats, and then we can shout at the void some more about.
Well, we're gonna do the breakdown on our draft, see how everyone did, talk a bit more about all that stuff. But yeah, let's do some stats.
All right, so I'm gonna do the last 2 weeks of stats, and then I'll talk a little bit about some stuff in detachments. I'm just gonna shove all the stats together. Oh, brutal. Damn.
All the French are in here to just talk shit at us, apparently.
Fair.
Why are they chatting shit at me? That's Luis is German.
He's French now.
He's French now. Okay.
Not how that works.
Damn. All right.
I think Luis is actually Oh God, did he live for Slovenia or Slovakia? Luis, which team did you merc for? Remind me. It was one of them.
We're just gonna skip a potential international incident and go into stats. Imperial
Hey,
Knights were the number
boo.
one. Imperial Knights were the number one performing faction of the weekend. To nobody's surprise, 6.1% of the meta, 112, not 1100, 112 players, a 59% win rate, 4 event wins, 17 top 4s, 28 top 10s, and a casual 2.58 over rep. Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's okay. I don't know what to do with this. But then Death Guard had 191 players, 10.4% of the meta, which is a lot. That's a lot of the meta, guys. That's Space Marine numbers in meta.
That's too many. That's too many. It should not be. It should not be double digits. No army should have double-digit percentage per of the lane, except Space Marines.
Space Marines. 57.5% win rate, 7 event wins, 23 top 4s, 45 top 10s, and a 2.05 over rep. The meta is the game's in fucking shambles.
So
at that point.
to be clear, what that
Gonna be
means, they make up 1 in 10 of players at events, and with an overrep of 2, that means that they make up 1 in 5 of the top 4s.
So many people.
Basically, for every 5 top 4s, so almost every single time, you'll have a Death Guard in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
In third place, casually, is a faction being carried by one person. Death Watch with 11 players, just enough to squeak over the 10-person limit that I usually impose on this stuff. 57% win rate, a single event win, a single top 4, and 2 top 10s for a 1.55 overrip, which is mostly caused by the fact that they had 11 players across 2 weeks.
And Mark Cartel is 3 of them?
I think
Yeah,
I think he's just one of them, but yes, the Gator is in fact still carrying that faction and doing the Lord's work with it so that it doesn't get buffed.
Fourth in the top 5 is Gene Stealer Colts with 35 players, a 1.9% meta representation, a 53.6% win rate, an event win, 2 top 4s, 4 top 10s, and a 0.97 overrep.
Perfectly underbalanced.
Don't be
0.97
fooled.
overrep.
Don't be fooled. There's a 60% win rate for Host of Ascension lurking in the background there. Just casually hiding back there. I mean, the other Gene Stealer Cult detachments are Biosanctic with a 32% win rate, Brood Brothers with a 50, Final Day with a 41, and Outlander Claw with a 57. I think maybe Host of Ascension perhaps is very good and is being dragged down with their win.
I think we should nerf Host of Ascension. As a Black Templars player, I really do think it should be significantly worse.
Sure. Why not? And then new to the top 5 is Space Wolves. 57 players for 3% of the meta, a 53.4% win rate. No event wins, 3 top 4s, 10 top 10s for a 0.9 over rep. So, doing okay. On the other end of things, the current worst faction in the game below Imperial Agents is Orcs. 51 players, 2.8% of the meta, 39.6% win rate. They did win an event, though. They got, which is their top 4 and 5 top 10s for a 0.33 over rep over the last couple weeks. Second from the bottom is Space Marines. 87 players, 4.7% of the meta, a 40.8% win rate, 1 event win, 2 top 4s, 9 top 10s for a 0.39 over rep. Imperial Agents, 4 people. They won 40.9% of their games, but didn't do anything in particular, so they have a 0 for over rep.
Shout out to Dominic Defoe. It's actually a Canadian who won with the GT with Tactical Brigade. I was just baffled.
Nice. Good work. Tau Empire are third from the bottom. 64 players, a 41.5% win rate. 2 event wins, which are their 2 top 4s, 6 top 10s, and a 0.53 for overrep. Custodies round out the bottom 5 with a 79 players, 4.3% of the meta, 44% win rate. An event win, which is their top 4 and 7 top 10s for a 0.22. Other event winners from the weekend are Tyranids, who won an event with a 47.7% win rate. Eldari won an event with a 49.1% win rate. Astra Militarum won 2 events with a 49.8% win rate. Necrons won an event with a 49.9%. And just in case people were wondering where the other Knights were, Chaos Knights had a 7.1% meta representation, more than Imperial Knights, and a 50.8% win rate. 2 event wins, 3 top 4s, 15 top 10s for a 0.39 over rep. So not doing as hot as the other Knight factions, but hidden there is the fact that, 9 people were playing Hound Pack Lance to a 38% win rate. And then the 2 most prominent factions are Infernal Lance and Lords of Dread with a 52.3 and a 51, respectively. So they are still doing very well, probably too good, given the fact that outside of like Imperial Knights and Death Guard, they are one of very few factions with more than 2 event wins for the last couple weeks. Yeah, so the meta might just be a little on fire. I don't know. You could probably casually
When was
raise
the last balance patch? This is a genuine
June.
question.
June. So we should probably expect one in September.
Should be next
roughly.
month.
Yeah. If it's every 3
is
months.
so far. Next month is so
And
far away.
that's the problem. Is it's been this summer of sadness when it comes to the meta, where we're just like, can we stop, please?
Yeah. The other thing is though that the herald of maybe emergency patches is starting. We do have at least one series of events starting to limit kind of the Death Guard and Imperial Knights and Chaos Knight representation in the meta. It's that what was it? Hellstorm events are making Death Guard have a rule of 2 and not able to ally Chaos Knights, and then Knights and Chaos Knights have a rule of 1 for their big Knights. They're not allowed to have more than 1 of a single data sheet. Probably totally reasonable rules to have in these situations. I don't think the rule of 2 for Death Guard is going to change anything, though.
I also don't think the rule of 1 is going to change much for Knights either.
Probably not. It might change a little bit. A bunch of Chaos Knights players are complaining about despoilers, so that must mean the change is at least partially right.
Oh, it's definitely hey, it's a good start.
Really, you should just make them play with like 1,700 points or 1,500 points or whatever you want to do. Inverse their win rate over like some range and go do the old, what was it, fantasy?
I know
battles that had that benefit.
chat complaining about clickbait. I've seen your thumbnails.
Also, Floof, like All Stars is actually a really like nice tournament series. So if yes, Mikey definitely knows how to feed the algorithm, but at the same time, if he's trying to make a better experience for his players and he feels that this is what's necessary, then kind of a kudos to him, but also like shame on UGW for letting this happen in the first place.
It does feel like we're in a cycle where inevitably what happens is we see tournament participation start to drop, which some event people have started to complain that their events aren't getting full.
So that's an interesting thing, actually, is, and sorry to cut you off on this, but this was something that I was actually talking about with a couple of people in the background a little while ago, and I double checked it today after this weekend's numbers. Event attendance is still up year over year, even if you just look at like June, July, August, which is kind of where we've been sitting in this not so great 10 weeks of meta. It's still up about 10 to 15% over last year.
So I suppose that's a fair question then. Compared to this time last year, it's up 10 to 15%. What does it look like for the February to February numbers from last year to this year?
About the same, about 10 to 12%. The big difference is that there are a lot more events. So this time last year, in the last 10 weeks, there were 130 events with an average attendance of about 62, 63 players, which that's pretty good. And then this year, there's been 165 events with an average attendance of 57. So event attendance has declined on like the average event size, but it hasn't in terms of the number of attendees or the number of events.
I think what would be interesting is you'd probably have to look at the RTT data as well, because I think the GTs tend to fill a lot more regularly, but the unhealthy part of it might be RTT attendance. Some TOs, I think, were complaining more about their like small GTs to like large RTTs not filling up, is what I've been seeing in various places and various Discord channels. And that shows that there's like a problem when somebody doesn't want to go out for a day of 40K, essentially. Like if you're planning to go to a super major, that's very different. A lot of people no matter what happens, LVO is going to sell out. No matter what happens, LGT will sell out. I mean, LVO has sold out every single year that I've seen it happen.
Valid. I'm more thinking along the lines of like, you are correct, because also people make these plans months ahead of time. The average tournament attendee is not going to cancel their trip to Vegas because the meta sucks.
Yep.
You're going to have some of the players at the
100%.
Yeah, but if it's like a local GT, 100%, I won't bother. So
it would also be interesting to look at, I think, what Centurion Karn brings up in the chat, which is about how many people are dropping. It would be interesting to see if the percentage of
that's a number I can actually take a look at, and I've looked at in the past. Because there's always a question of like the reason I looked at it in the past was there was a discussion about European versus American tournaments, and like Americans tend to play day one and then drop, or played like 2 of the 3 days of a super major and then drop, whereas Europeans will just play the whole event.
Okay.
And there was like a 5-10% difference in terms of like the drop rate, but I can look at it for like this time last year and this time year before, because I do look at like you start with this, what do you finish with, what's the attrition look like day 1 to day 2 kind of thing. So that'll be something we can talk about next week's show if someone sends me a note about that, because I'll forget otherwise.
I think an interesting thing to look at is like something you mentioned earlier, and we've done this before with the stats, is we've looked at every year, we look at year over year, like attendance numbers and event numbers, and the game has continuously expanded. There's never been a year where it has dropped. And basically, since we've started recording stats, the events and participation numbers have grown.
I think they've tripled in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so it's like, in some ways, this game is a little bit immune to like 3-month metas. Now, if this like extended for longer than I think 3 months or a quarter, like if the meta continued to be unhealthy, we would probably start to see a slump. But overall, like year over year, the numbers keep going up. And so,
yeah. And I can also think that something like GT attendance is something that would lag again, because of the like you plan to go to an event several months out. For a lot of people, especially if you're traveling to it, you make your travel plans, your hotel, your Airbnb, whatever. But then, if the meta still sucks, right now, you could see that echo in the fall. Even though we may be seeing a balance change, people are like, I don't really know if I want to go to LGT.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to sign up for an event 3 months from now if I don't know what it's going to be like.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll probably see that lag. Then we'll have to take a look at it. Well, in 3 months, we'll have to remind ourselves to look at it to see if there's a drop in GT participation.
I will be right back.
Sure. Other than that, like the meta is in a bad spot. It's been in a bad spot before. We'll see how things go. I don't like that we're at like 20%, over 20% night participation in this meta. It's 23.5 between Knights and Death Guard at the moment, which I think is bad. Like, it's bad that there are 3 factions that are the winningest faction and are making up that large of a percentage of the meta. That's just a problem and leads to poor player experiences. And GW has shown at least like a moderate amount of responsiveness in the past to fixing some of these problems, and hopefully they fix it. I do worry that we're going to see them fix it, and then every other problem that should have been addressed in the 2025 like balance patch, or like has existed since the 2025 mission pack release, is just going to crop up and we'll have a different set of problems. But who knows? We'll see. They've been pretty good in the past. Maybe they'll be good in the future. We just honestly don't know.
I wonder how much of it goes to do with the fact that Mordaka was a digital update and these are physical ones, excepting Knights, where it's like it's easier to update a digital thing than it is a physical thing. It makes people feel like their physical thing is being outdated quicker.
I wonder too how much of it is like localization. When you make changes, right, you gotta like translate them into a bunch of different languages and then get them ready for release. I'm sure there are some business concerns behind the scenes that also lead to like things just taking longer. If the game was only played in like the UK and the US and you only had to translate it essentially into one language, that would be it. Like, I'm sure the company would be a lot more agile in that situation. But when you have to deal with all that, there's probably a lot less agility overall when you got to kind of localize everything and get everything put together and app submitted and everything. But who knows? I don't know. I don't think anybody on this show knows enough about the inner workings of GW's balance process to really tell anybody what that will look like. But hopefully we'll see some improvements soon. Maybe events starting to yell about it will make GW fix things faster. But
one can only hope.
Do we want to talk about Black Templar excitement for a second?
Do you want to talk about our brand new detachment tool and share some stats from that?
Oh, yeah. Why don't we look at the detachment tool? So it's not really a tool, but we updated and improved our spreadsheet that we use to track detachments to make it a lot better. So I have all the detachments, and we removed mirrors from it. So it's a little bit, it's closer to the true balance state, because when you have mirror matches in, it tends to pull everything to the center at 50%. In this case, we tend to get a better picture of how things are going. So if we look at everything, we can go down to Eldari, who have a 49.1% win rate with 79 players currently tracked in this Q3 data spreadsheet that we've got. Most people are playing Aspect Host or Warhost. Aspect Host is a 49.4. Warhost has a 55.2 for win rate. And then Seer Council has 7 players and a 33.8% win rate. If you look into something like Astra Militarum, you can go in here and look. You can find that 41 out of 82 are playing Combined Arms for 48.3. 23 are playing Hammer for 51.3, and then 6 people are playing Combined for 63.5. What you can essentially use this to kind of dig through, so we can take a look at Space Wolves since they're kind of the newest one to adding a bunch of extra stuff to it. The 2 most prominent are Gladius with 17 out of 56, and then Saga of the Beast Player with 30 out of 56, with a 53.7 and a 52% win rate, respectively. I personally am playing Stormlands, so it's a little funny to see Stormlands here with 4 people playing it in a 68.2% win rate, which is kind of fun, you know. Maybe Stormlands is the correct path, but
Stormlands is pretty good. I had the displeasure of playing against it, and when Thunderwolves move 21, you just kind of put them where you want them.
Yep. I really enjoy playing that. Their Thunderwolf cavalry were briefly considered dead, and everybody was wrong about it, because if I put 15 on the table and they go, like in a said 21 inches, they will trap somebody in their deployment zone and just be trapped there forever. -1 hit and -1 wound and reactive moves, though, are also extremely good on those bricks. And since you can generate CP with Bjorn, you can pay for all of your really expensive stratagems while punishing your opponent with other stuff. I have had fun with that 10-man Terminator brick that I saw as well at WTC, and also with Blood Claws recently. That 20-man Blood Claw unit is hilarious, and it'll just choke an opponent in the middle if they kind of go places.
It does so much damage into the right target.
Yep.
Especially in Gladius, where you've got access to Lance +1 AP and full rerolls to wound.
Yeah. I mean, Lance and +1 AP in the Assault Doctrine is great. Who knew? AP2 Chainswords, good. With full rerolls to wound and Ragnar attached to that unit. Might be good. Possibly. Advance in charge also, and improved movement, so they're faster just at moving. Could be okay.
Pretty good. My favorite by far is watching head takers just shred anything they touch.
Oh, yeah.
Provided it's their target.
Yeah, I mean, I had 20 Blood Claws hold the center against basically a whole Necron army for like the latter half of a game while chopping several Necron units to pieces in the process, which was very funny. It was great. I don't know. I love that unit. I have now decided to include that unit and might play it in Stormlands just because you can get a flat 6-inch advance on them, which is kind of fun. No.
That stratagem is vehicle and walker.
Mounted.
No.
Vehicle or mounted and non-walker vehicle, isn't it?
I think it's transport.
Cursed. I was so excited for a second. Well, I was playing.
I do love that the mounted is flat 9, and you kind of look at that and go, "That was designed for Outriders, not for fucking Thunderwolf cavalry that still exists."
Adeptus is mounted, or Adeptus is vehicle excluding walkers.
Okay, so you can't use it on like Redemptors and shit, because I think you could originally.
Curses. Oh well, that's fine.
No, it was the reactive move that got changed to be
infantry.
Infantry mounted only. That used to be anything.
Yes. Well, it's a good thing that when I was playing Stormlands, it was basically just 15 Thunderwolf cavalry, and when I was playing Blood Claws, it was in Gladius, so they didn't have that stratagem regardless.
I mean, you do have it, but it's Tactical Doctrine.
True. Tactical Doctrine is where it's at. Just shove your units into tactical when you want them to do stuff. It's fine, guys. Everything's fine.
Yeah, Paint Celestine with the good point of like it just continues to be frustrating that a lot of these supplement armies are just better with Gladius or
Gladius is really good. I don't know if anyone noticed.
It's
so boring.
That's the problem.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to very quickly do a couple of super chats that came in. Thank you to Stanley Pedal 9991 for joining as a YouTube member. Command Protocols, thank you for the £5. Good seeing you, NS. I wish I could have won vs Liam, but an 8-12 an acceptable loss. I think it might have been his second lowest score all weekend. Or his lowest score all weekend. I think his other loss was an 11-9. And that was to Alban. So you're now on the admit train. You miss resurrected models. That's how I feel every time I play something that's not Chancellor Cult. How does anybody deal with like losing stuff and it just being gone? Like it's absurd, and I don't think it's okay.
You could play the Votann Berserk Detachment.
That is a cool ability.
That is a very fun. So go read the full reviews over on Goonhammer or Art of War or wherever. But in the Berserk Detachment, which makes them battle line and gives them deep strike, there's an enhancement that allows you to just spend yield points and add Berserks back to a unit.
They come out the ground.
It's very funny. I was looking at it and I went, This doesn't make the detachment amazing, but it does make it very fun.
It's a cool. If they were still 2 wounds or 3 wounds on the mole launchers, it'd be absurd. But with
Well,
1
they're
wound, it's a
not.
little less. They're now arcoflagellants. All right. Thank you to Centurion Karn for the $10. Guys, I lost podium at Iowa and probably the win because of challenger cards. He won by 6 and got 14 points as a result of them. How reasonable was my crash? How do you get 14 points on challenger cards? Is my first question.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
12 is
get is 12.
definitely the cap, but sure.
12 is the cap, yeah.
Your crash out is incredibly reasonable. You should be very mad.
Yeah.
Screw challenger cards. They should definitely be narrative only. It's okay for people losing the game to just lose, guys.
Yeah, their insistence on continuing on every single book in this edition having a comeback mechanic is
dangerous. Dan, thank you to Dan Mars 1106 for the $5. Thanks, Dan. How much does it cost to find out Ennis's birthday? You could probably just start through the backlogs. I'm sure someone's wished me happy birthday in the Discord before.
I already told him in exchange for a box of Steel Jacks.
That's low. I would have at least made
How
it
you
2
doxed
boxes
me?
of Steel Jacks.
I could have just said it right now, and I didn't.
You could have. Yeah. Didn't even get that hard.
That's where you just find. That's how kettles end up at people's places.
And thank you to Magnus Did Nothing Wrong for the 777. What up, fam? Congrats, Innocent. It was dope to watch your matches on Wargame Live. Real question: how did the fantasy draft go and who won? Well, that's going to segue me right into our pre-Black Templars chat, which is where I tell everyone how the WTC draft went, and we're going to go through the results together. So let me present a Chrome tab. There we go. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
So here is what everyone drafted. I'm going to go pull up the BCP results, and we're going to talk about how everyone did. So the basic way we're going to do this is everyone. I'm literally opening it now, but you can do it if you want, and I can type. That maybe seems easier. Yeah, you should. We should do that. So I'm going to fill out the ones I remember. So France first, Germany second. So you'll get for each placing, you'll get 43 points minus the placing. That'll be how many points you get. So we'll add up all the total scores and then subtract it from 148. I think that seems the easiest way to do it. And then that will determine who our winner is. So yeah, the goal is to get to have drafted as well as you can. All right, so let's start off with Nathan's draft. So we have France, who ended in first. We have, I believe that is Malta.
Yeah, I believe
Where
so.
did Malta finish?
I thought you had that open.
No, I thought you just said you were going to do it.
No, I was opening up a spreadsheet. Give me a second. I have it open.
Oh my god!
I'm not logged in on the
finished
computer.
28th.
28th. That's not a great start, Nathan.
I got the first place person. Come on,
Finland.
Come on.
Finland was 24th.
All right, and we had South Africa.
I think they were 42nd.
They were last. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a total here 29, 53, 53, 95. So 148 minus 95 gets Nathan the total of 53 points.
Yep.
Should have just picked Canada like I was originally thinking I was gonna.
All right, Jeremy, USA finished third. Scotland finished 10th. We have Romania.
That should be Romania, yeah, because I wanted rocket fuel. And they finished. I'm looking for the rocket fuel, and I think they changed their name back. Nope, they finished 38th. Were they my C3? Or I guess they were.
All right, and we have Luxembourg,
who finished 35th.
So we have -3, -10, -38, -35, 62 points.
Damn. Can't call them all right.
Sucks to suck. Then we have my draft. We have Australia, who finished 6th, 7th, 6th.
Australia was 6th.
Oh yeah. We have Ireland.
Ireland finished. That's Iceland. Ireland finished 23rd.
We have Wales.
Wales finished. Why can't I find them? Or am I looking too high? I was looking in the 20s. Where the hell are they? They finished 21st. No, I was looking from 22 onwards and I couldn't find them.
All right, and we have
Sorry,
China.
Wales. China finished 26th.
All right, so that gets me
72
142
points.
All right.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm looking at that last one and I'm thinking, yeah, I think Anthony might have won this. So, all right. Liam, we have Denmark. We have England who finished 12th. We have Denmark who finished.
It's 18th.
We have Greece.
30th.
We have Latvia. Latvia did really well, actually.
Yeah, fuck yeah, Latvia. They finished 17th.
Nice work, Latvia.
Not bad at all.
71. Liam's 1 point behind you.
Haha, suck it, Liam. All right, we have Nas, who has Spain.
27th.
Or Spain.
Tough one, Nas. You drafted the literal worst seed one team you could. We have Italy.
Italy finished 14th.
Okay, we have Chechnya to make the joke continue.
Czechia, 11th.
Czechia?
Yeah.
Czechia.
I'm making fun of the Czechs with that one. That was intentional, and they'll think
Okay.
it's funny now.
Be careful.
That's a really scary thing to do.
Where did the Czechs finish?
They finished 11th.
Hell
Nice.
yeah,
Good job, Czechia.
Yeah, they have what
job,
was it?
Czechia.
Tied Germany, was it?
Mhm.
No, that was last year.
No, I don't remember. And then we have the UN.
29th.
All right, and what does that get us points wise? Since you're faster than
67.
math? Did you know what, Nas? For drafting the literal worst tier 1 seed, not
It
too
turns
bad.
out that drafting drafting Czechia was a really good idea.
It was just me. I made a mistake.
All
I
right.
drafted the actual worst team. It's fine. It's fine.
And we have Tyler, who had the Swedes for 4th place.
Yep.
New Zealand.
20th place.
Oof.
We have the Swiss.
15th place.
Congrats to the Swiss, by the way, for having almost the most draws you could possibly have.
4 draws, 2 losses, and a
4.
win. Sorry, who?
And South Korea.
South Korea, I believe, was 41st. They were. So 68 points for Tyler.
All right. Then we have Brian, who had Poland. 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
Thailand.
No, I want to say they were in the 20s. Yeah, 22.
We have Northern Ireland.
With 36th.
Tough run for Northern Ireland this year. And Hong Kong.
Hong Kong finished. How am I missing them again? I keep scrolling past. They finished 34th.
All right. And what does that get us points wise?
51 points. That currently puts Brian below Nathan.
Brian.
Yes, not in last
bad.
place.
Brian, you did bad, buddy. All right.
Yes.
And then we have Anthony, who had Germany in 2nd, Belgium in 7th, Iceland.
Iceland was 19th.
And then Portugal, who I believe
13th.
was the highest seeded seed 4, which will get Anthony the win here.
Anthony has 107 points.
Ooh, fuck.
He scored 35 points more than Innes, which was the next closest drafter.
Okay.
So, congratulations to Anthony for the gold, the only gold the USA were capable of. Myself for the silver. I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. And to Liam for the bronze. Well done, Liam. That means I get to shout out our show the most. That's how this works. Congratulations to Brian for being awful. I'm going to make yours. You get pink because of how bad you are. Brian, you have the least understanding of how WTC works. Anthony, you are the smartest and bestest boy. Congratulations. But most importantly, what this confirms is that the Stat Check Show might have the smartest guys, but we've also got some of the dumbest. And it was good that End of the Matrix copied us. Needed
I'll have
odds
you
on
know,
this.
I'll have you know,
Day the
perfectly
draft, Brian is
average.
coming in last.
Yeah, so the main show averaged 73.5 points.
Well,
and
thanks, Anthony.
And then Enter the Matrix averaged 64 points. So
we did fine. We
beat him by 9 on average.
There we go.
And we did better than
We may be
originally.
getting old, but we're not out of date quite yet.
Exactly. We got time. We got time. So congratulations to everybody. Who did we not draft? So we didn't draft the team that came. So the undrafted teams, Austria and Netherlands. Seems
Netherlands
like
turned out to be a good one because, in terms of seed 1 drafts, I mean, because they finished 16th.
Canada and Norway going undrafted. Canada seems to have
Canada finishing 8th was definitely. I mean, I'll admit, wasn't in my cards. I've said it multiple times, but I'll say it publicly on the show. I did not like their comp. I didn't think that they were going to do well, and they proved me wrong. And I'm perfectly happy to say I was wrong on this. And
the Lancers got points. Got put 22 points on us. I'm pretty sure, or 23 points on us across 2 games. So
that sounds about right. Yeah,
they did pretty good. We have Slovakia or Slovenia, and then the other one of Slovakia or Slovenia. I'm not making my call here. And then I believe Bulgaria. I really don't know, guys. I'm really sorry. Bulgaria and Hungary were definitely not drafted.
The bottom one is Hungary.
So this is Bulgaria, and then Cyprus and Israel going undrafted, which I think was all pretty reasonable. Yeah, shout out to Portugal for carrying the shit out of Anthony's draft.
I mean, Anthony could have picked like the worst. Anthony could have picked South Africa.
He picked the second best seed 1,
and still would have.
Yeah. He picked the best, the second best seed 1, the best seed 2, the second best, the third best seed 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that looks about right.
And then the best seed 4. So, yeah, pretty good. Averaged a rank of like 2 across his 4 picks. So, Nathan had the best first pick, but very quickly slid.
That's how it usually goes. It picked well once, and that was it.
Yeah, I was very good at hitting people in the 20s. I'll take it. All right, that was the draft answer. And it is. I know you're a fan of Ryan Aegeus. Do want a freaking tear? Yeah, Aegeus is a 3 ACDC bricks 50 pinks list. Absolutely crushed it in the main event for Malta. I believe he was the second high scorer behind Alex Jessen for Denmark. We are going to see a lot of 10 Scarabocult Terminator Thousand Suns lists in the wild in the next couple of months, I think.
Yeah. I had a blast during the War Masters event watching Malte play, what was it, 30 Scarab?
30 rubrics, rubric balance link, 30 Scarabocult rubric balance link, yeah.
Yeah, playing it into ACDC bricks that just couldn't kill a Terminator even with a full brick activated.
God, bro.
Yeah, it was that moment of like, what we do
this
now.
isn't going to go well.
Yeah, this is good. I can't kill anything.
Yeah, for sure.
What
were your standout lists from the event across both War Masters and WC that you guys managed to see, whether it was on stream or on results?
Probably what felt to me like the underperformance of the Hammer to Spoiler list. It felt a lot stronger in the practice games that I had taken part in, as well as in some of the like other games that I'd seen. And then it seemed like in the actual teams event, it fell a little. It wasn't as good at pushing diff as I thought it would have been.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. It definitely did its job in most of its games, but it still had that kind of thing of sometimes you just take a light board and you don't win the shootout, and that it never really It never felt like Hammer ever fundamentally solved that issue across any of the teams that had it. Yeah,
and then I mean, obviously we already mentioned Ryan's list, but definitely Liam Al-Gaib's Eldari list, just proving once again that if you find a good data sheet, if you take 3 of them, things are going to go very funnily.
Our Swooping Hawk's good. What if we played 30?
Yeah, our Swooping Hawk's good. Maybe our Swooping Hawk's good when you have TTS site. Probably.
Yeah, for sure. I think
But when you have WTC ruins, it is a lot easier to play 30 models you could never hide on GW terrain ever in your life.
Well, and also you can get plunging fire on WTC ruins.
you
For
certainly can.
half the squad.
Yeah, 7 of the 7 list that went 7 wins at WTC this year were Alex Jessen's Grand Coven with 10 Skyrocket Terminators and the Arcane Vortex Demon Prince, Ryan Aegis's Horde Demons list with the 3 ACDC 50 Pink Horrors, Liam VSL's 30 Swooping Hawks Fire Dragons, Will Furman's pretty damn standard Renegade Raiders with the Lord Discordant and Legionnaires and Destructors and all that good stuff, Noise Marines. We had Bjorn Eriksson's Chaos Knights, which was a fairly dog heavy build. Yeah, it's triple to spoiler, all with double Gatling, 4 Carnivores, 2 Nurglings, Beast Nurgle, and Rodigus. We have Joel Larson's Khorne Demonkin World Eaters list, which is exactly what you'd expect. Obviously, getting one last ride in before the nerfs came in through to Khorne Demonkin, but notably playing decent numbers of Khorne Berserkers and the big squad of Blood Crushers, as well as Triple Forge Fiend. We had Matt Bonnet's 80 Khorne Berserkers. World Eaters. I will say that actually for me the standout faction of the event was probably World Eaters. I think World Eaters showed up with numbers across like Matt Bonnet, Alex Taus, Joel Larson, and Anthony. I think all of them put in incredibly high numbers and were all in the top like 30 high scorers.
Yep. A2 from Finland also went.
Also
I think it was 5-2, and the wins were a lot of them were blowouts.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of the things I don't love about the BCP's formatting on this one is that it does sort it by wins, not by battle points for the individual scorers. It would be nice if you could look at the individual scores.
WTC, you can go fix that.
It'd be really cool if we could.
Start the event by just raw diff.
Just on the individual point scoring, it'd be fine. Because it'd be nice to see, because like a little bit of it is mixed up by some people with lower scores with all lots of 11s, things like that. It's quite hard to see the individuals because I know that there's some people that are like one win of like a 7 and then every other of the games are like 20s that would have been like second or third in individual score, but actually fall pretty far down the ranking. Like for example,
yeah. So like example of that, Joel Larson went 7 wins, but he scored 113 diff, but Taus scored 120 across the.
Yeah, I think Taus was actually like
7-point loss.
Taus was the 4th high scorer of the tournament, I think.
Something close to that. Yeah, no. Shout out to him for doing exceptionally well.
Yeah, Taus was the 4th high scorer of the tournament behind Alexander Jessen, Ryan Aegius, and Liam VSL. He actually scored 1 more point than Will Furman in 4th.
Yeah, Simon Harris surprised that only 3 of the top 50 scores were IK. I would say that's not that surprising because every team would have come teched to deal with IK, or at the very least think that they were tech to deal with IK.
Right. Yeah, your list had to be pretty like prepped. If your team wasn't like real prepped for IK, there was a very real chance. Or, only so many teams were willing to actually like pair for their IK player.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You have to have prep for the 3 most like represented factions.
And I think for me, what that actually does is it makes it even more standout for those Chaos Knight and Pure Knight players that did rock house with it, right? If you look at Fred Otto with 105 differential with Chaos Knights for Germany and Bjorn for Team Sweden with Chaos Knights putting up 115, like those guys were very clearly getting paired for quite aggressively and were getting their great matchups. Whereas if you kind of look for the Imperial Knight players, Lucas Woback for Austria got a 109, but it looks like there just weren't a ton of people that were like aggressively pairing for their Imperial Knight players, which I think just results in it naturally generating lower scores, right? Even if you look at players that we would traditionally think about being much higher scorers on an army like Imperial Knights, like Skark, right? So if I look at Poland's Knight list, Skark traditionally one of the higher scores of the event ends up with 2 14s, a 13, a 10, a 7, a 4, and a 2 for a total diff of 64, while having been the high scorer of the tournament in previous years.
That 4, by the way, Canada.
Yep. Just there's a lot of room there for making life miserable for some of these armies if you really wanted to. And again, the same thing with the Chaos Knight list for Poland, right? With for Leshu. Again, Leshu traditionally, one of the more consistent players for Poland, has 2 10s, a 7, a 6, and a 3 here, along with a 15 and a 20. Like when it goes right for these armies, they're very capable of pushing high scores, but they're not super consistent at it unless you were very, very specifically making sure their life was easy and building your comp around that. And I think a lot of teams that just inserted knights into a standard comp found that they were like chasing their own tail around their knights list a lot, or trying to get it into good matchups that didn't exist. or we're just throwing them to the wolves to try to get other players good matchups.
Makes
Death
sense.
Guard is the other interesting one. I mean, Death Guard didn't do amazingly great at the event. They have one undefeated player basically in 9th place, which was France's Death Guard player, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, Alban got a 110 with his Death Guard with 6 wins and a draw.
I guess Czechia also is undefeated because there are 2 draws in there, and I just didn't see it. So
Wojtek.
Yeah, Wojtek. I actually drafted Wojtek for my fucking Contact Lost draft, so I'm very glad he did well.
He's a very good player.
Yeah,
Played him at.
he was playing Champions of Contagion.
Still managed 90 diff.
Yeah, we see Jerry. 90 diff. We see Jerry Zhang for China playing Virulent Victorum alongside Alban being the two high scorers were, and then Slovakia Richard Kopaj was also Kopaj. I'm sorry, Richard. Was also playing Virulent Victorum. So the 3 high scorers from like a win
Betteridge
perspective
scored higher
were
as well.
all Virulent Victorum.
He scored
the next was
wins.
Champions of Contagion. And then Jonathan Betteridge for Canada was Virulent Victorum. And then Latvia had Champions of Contagion. I'm not even going to turn out. Jesus Christ. The Portuguese player who was next was Virulent Victorum. And that everybody in the top 50 points scorers for Death Guard was Champions of Contagion or Virulent Victorum. There were no hammerless in the top 50 scorers.
No, that's not true. Emil had 99 diff, and he was hammer.
But he's in the sorry. Yes, going by the rank breakdown.
But yeah,
yes.
I was saying in terms of like raw diff, because again we're dealing with
in terms of raw diff. Yeah,
problem.
so there was one, and he was the only person that's really putting up like crushing scores consistently with it. Right, there are definitely some above 90, but they're losing games and stuff like that. Like temperatures are pretty high. So yeah, it's just not an army that was like naturally leading itself towards like really blowing people out. And like, yes, while it's very good, you can have a look at Gonyo for Team USA, for example, playing that spoilers you're talking about. He has a 20, and then every single one of his other scores is between 9 and a 12. 20 in round 1, where USA played their pool 4 seed. So sure, fair play to him. He was able to crush his opponent on Team Israel. But other than that, 11, 12, 9, 10, 10, 10. List real good at getting 10s. Vidar for Team Belgium, very similar, right? A 12 in his round 1, a 20 in his round 2, which is when the seed 2 plays their seed 4. Then an 8, and a 10, and a 10, then 118, and then an 8 again. Again, just very similar. Chris Irvine for Team Scotland, 10, 2, 11, 11, 10, 4, 11. A lot of these hammer lists just were, they were going down as first defenders or similar, and were just scoring 10s to 20, 10s to 12s, but occasionally you'd bounce into a team that had a plan for a first defender Death Guard hammer list and would just capitalize on it and were able to blow it out. And when you're taking a light board, blowouts go against you real hard.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Kara Quinn has a good question that I think we should just chat about real quick, which is, so France and USA have indicated unknown knights, right? But also, why does WTC put number 1 and the number 2 in round 4 right out of pods?
I mean, it just follows standard Swiss pairings of 1 plays 2, 3 plays 4, all the way down, and does that for the entire event in the group stage.
Yeah, like I think you could either do it this way. You could do wins random within brackets. I ultimately think it doesn't matter when the round is. If you're going to play the other top teams, you play the other top teams, right? That's just how it kind of goes. I don't think there's anything wrong with having 1 plays 2 at the end of the event. If you were doing it the other way, you would be better seeding it as a bracket or something like that. I think the alternative way you could potentially do it is in bracket 1 plays the lowest person in that bracket so that you're rewarded for doing as well as you can. But with only 7 rounds, there's a chance you maybe just wouldn't see another top team and you maybe just would scrape your way to like not having the final. And this way ensures that in theory, if the best team in the tournament and the second best team in the tournament should play each other. But yeah, just with the Germany, it's going to happen every year. 1 team will probably avoid playing, and if you didn't get enough differential, like there's always going to be a tiebreaker. Some team, France can't play every other tier 1 seed, right? That's just not possible. So the only way we could avoid doing that is not having pods, which is a real argument. Actually, I think you could make the argument that maybe we shouldn't run pods, and they should just play Swiss from round 1.
Maybe seed the first round, like 1 plays bottom, and then you just go from there random.
Yeah, potentially, right? Just 1.
Because I think one of the argument for the pods is that you have a little bit less spoilers early on, and also you have an opportunity for the lower ranked teams to play the higher ranked teams.
Yeah, and I think that's the argument for it, right? Is that every team gets a chance to play against every team gets a chance to play against the 1 seed. Every team gets every 2 seed every 2, 3, and 4 seed gets a chance to play a 1 seed. But it kind of feels like it's a round that exists for the 4 seeds and the 3 seeds, and it's a reason to encourage them to come and all that, right? But does the pod system need to exist? I suppose is a fair argument. It does having an extra round for Germany to play France instead. Like if that round happens in round 7 instead of in the theoretical round 8 we don't have, and France didn't play against South Korea. I don't remember exactly who it was they played. Does that meaningfully impact the tournament's competitive integrity?
Probably not. I think Slovenia was there.
Yeah, whoever their round 1
4.
was, right?
Yeah, because they played against Slovenia, Finland, Italy, France, Sweden, Poland, and Belgium. And obviously won all of them. Germany played against South Africa, Iceland, Belgium, Italy, USA, England, and Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think it's relevant in the sense that doing a win path at an event like this doesn't really necessarily make sense, right? Is it harder because you played France in round 3 versus if you played them in round 7? I don't think that like meaningfully matters.
And the other thing is that we don't have an event where it's like there's 44 teams. You could just do a standard Swiss pod and have the thing over in 6 rounds.
Yeah,
I like having 7 just for the.
And this is the thing: we don't want to do that because this system actually works quite nicely. It means that you can get through, and like we were talking in some of the backstage chats, like you could still win the event having lost a round.
Yeah, I wonder if there's maybe merit in doing something like with the pod, having it be a 2-round pod with 4 teams seed in, and it plays as a bracket where the 1 seed plays the 4 seed, the 2 seed plays the 3 seed, and then whoever of the 2 and 3 seed wins their game plays the 1 seed, and then you come out of pods after 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at this from like a sports perspective, which I hate doing when it comes to 40K, but the comparison will be made. If you look at how like the Olympic groups work, I think that we're pretty close to that already, and it makes perfect sense that you can, because of the number of rounds that we have, you can drop a round or not, and still do well.
Yeah, and like I like the pod in the sense that it gives us a lot of storyline before the tournament, right? It's the biggest draw. Playing for seeding is very important for pool 2 and 3 seeds, in terms of like what you're putting into, and I think it has a lot of value. Is it value that's there when you get to the tournament? I think that's less important. There's got to be storylines and driving factors and things that pull people to care about the tournament beforehand, and that get pool 2 and 3 seeds. They get the the lower seed tournament teams to want to keep coming back and to give them reason to improve year on year, and I think that has value, even if it allows for situations like Germany not playing France and coming second, and I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it, Germany came out of the group stage with a draw against Belgium, who finished 7th, which is fairly impressive as it stands. And then they went on
playing for the win theoretically in the last round, right? If they beat France hard enough, because they were both they were 2 points less than France. So if they had beaten them by enough, they could have jumped them. Like it would have had to be like a 130 or something stupid like that to get the tiebreak points to jump them, but it was theoretically still possible at that point,
right? Yes, it was, because at the end of the day, France finished with 751 and Belgium finished with 655.
So they needed to recover like 93 points out of that.
I think if they scored, I can't do the math off the top of my head. So they were 600 going into it, and France was 646 going into it. So they needed to win by 46 points.
Yeah, which would have been...
it's possible, but...
yeah, they needed to put a 127 on France, right?
Yeah, but it was possible.
Theoretically feasible.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they lost, and so they slipped to 7th. Germany started out with 3 wins and a draw and didn't lose until round 5. So them finishing in second probably isn't that.
But they did lose to the USA, which then put them down further, right? If they had drawn with the USA at that point, they probably would have played France in a later round.
Yeah.
Because they would have been higher seeded than Belgium at that point. So there's a lot of, with the way it worked out, with the event being so top heavy, while USA and Germany both dropped a decent number of points, right? Both of them dropped 3 points. It was always going to come down to tiebreakers.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that like Germany won bigger in their wins.
Yeah.
And
Germany
closer.
drew a round and lost a round. And so did the USA. Is drawing Poland and losing to France more noble than drawing Belgium and losing to
the USA?
The USA that much? Like, I don't think it's significantly different to me.
Yeah, and if you kind of look at it from like a win path perspective, Germany had an intact win path going into the game against USA, whereas USA didn't. So, like, if you look at when in the event you lost, if anything, it should be Poland sitting on top of both of them.
Yeah, and I think like ultimately, any decision you make is going to favor one type of game over another. I think having it just be based on what you did over this smaller tournament where it's only 44 players, you don't need a ton of stratification, and having it be based on be based on the thing that you're playing towards makes sense in that context, right? Have it be based on the diff of the games you're playing.
Yep, agreed.
I think that's fine.
It's a fun
I think
question.
the system is fine.
Because and the other thing is like if you upend the rankings and make them entirely based on diff, it doesn't change the top 5 at all.
Yeah, and if you put it on win path, like whatever, right?
If you put it on win path, USA slips to 5th. Sweden moves up to 3rd. Poland goes to 2nd. Sweden goes to 3rd. USA goes to 4th. Yeah, like they shuffle around in there, but it's not that big of a change.
Yeah, so there's not any system you pick will favor, but like the thing with it is it's not, you can't predict how it will favor you before the tournament, right? We couldn't go into this saying like, oh yeah, USA will be favored if it's based on win path, and Germany, like that's just not how it pans out, right? So,
right,
head to head, if applicable, should be first tiebreaker. What happens if you have 3 teams that are all tiebreakered against each other and things like that, right? Like there's so many ways that gets messy.
Yeah, pretty much. All I can say is if you want to place high, don't lose.
Exactly. Just beat the teams. Just beat the teams in front of you, and you'll place higher.
Yeah.
Just do something that no other team has done, and just go undefeated and win a second time in a row.
Just be the first.
They are the first for both of those.
They're the first in WTC.
Yep.
They're the first to go back-to-back event wins.
No, not across ETC and WTC, but they're first to do it in WTC.
Yeah, I mean we've only had 4.
Yeah, they're the first to do it in the modern era.
the post, yeah, the new era.
In PCE, they're the first to do it.
Yeah. Now, what we should do is we should normalize all of their rankings based on player population.
Hell yeah, let's go Scotland.
If for no other reason, then that would put England at the dead bottom every single time, because England has as many 40k players as the United States does.
I think that puts us like near or at the top. So let's do that. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. Wait a second.
Let's go by national population. Hong Kong are winning.
The UK has how many 40k players relative to the United States?
About the same.
Fuck, that's crazy. That's not.
It's almost like the game's from there.
I know, but that's still crazy to me. That is a ridiculous number of people.
Let's do one last WTC chat question before we move on to show questions. What faction stood out for you as being significantly worse than it was meant to be?
Worse?
I honestly don't know.
And why is it Thousand Sons?
You say as you point out that the player that finished.
No. Alex and Ranshin did amazingly. And then who else?
For Thousand Sons? I mean, shout out to Yokel.
That's a good question.
No, Thousand Sons actually did exceptionally well. I don't know what you're talking about.
Did fine. I don't know, man. I feel like for
Justin,
being as hyped up,
Ranshin,
like
Israel's one.
I want to put this in the context.
Yokel, Sam Nash Meyerlin, Brian even did pretty well with them.
I want to put this in the context though that we came into this like the pre-list reveal process, being like Thousand Sons might be the best army in the game. They're definitely the best army on WC terrain.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that.
A lot of people did. And
that's strictly because Death Guard, Imperial Knights, and Chaos Knights eat them fucking alive.
Sure. I just want to say it feels like they didn't do as well as they could have.
Shout out to Yokel for the only one, I think one of the only ones to bring the sorcerer with the vortex.
Sure. Like there are definitely a few people, but like a lot of these scores, outside of exactly Alex, most of these scores are 12s to 13s, 14s on a push.
I mean, I was originally going to say
Titus,
Death
I would
Guard.
not say that Tim on Votann struggled. He scored 101 div.
I was going to say Death Guard, but that's why I brought them up earlier. Is that they didn't seem to do
Virulent, yes.
exceptionally
Hammer,
well.
no.
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah, I
that's
think
a
Hammer
detachment
definitely
unit.
I
relatively underperformed.
do want to say shout out to Greg Chamberlain for managing to prove to all of us that despite their best efforts, Hearthband was in fact a shitty detachment.
Yeah, Hearthband didn't look great.
And Gene Stealer Cult continues to look good in some people's hands and not in many people's.
Greg
Yeah.
scored 401 victory points before diff across 7 games. Do the math on that for a moment.
No,
What did?
I don't want to.
That is less than 60 points a game.
It's pretty tough. Shout out to Mirko for being the technically highest scoring Gene Circle player with 2 draws and 5 wins with his Outlander as the only Outlander claw. But I'm taking my 110 diff and running with it. So I think I said this earlier. That's the most diff I've ever scored at WTC, including the time I played Leviathan Nids. I think my Levy Nids was like a 108. So
Tyranids did also perform quite badly, it looks like, at the event.
This event, yeah, but
I just don't think the Tyranids are that good though, right? Like, is it underperforming if you're not that great?
No, I don't think anybody was expecting them to perform particularly well, but they did perform.
Yeah, like we broadly find that Tyranids are like real stable, right? They get their points. Things have to go real bad for it to get crazy. Shout out to our game against John Winter Russell from Canada, where a Hellhound exploded and killed 6 gargoyles from a move block and unlocked the entire guard army.
That is just pain.
It takes a lot to go wrong for that army to get like just turbo stomped, but mostly it was just like strong and stable, stands there, does its job. But like I don't think anyone was going to this being like, yeah, Tunnel Snakes are broken.
Actually, that's a good question from Quinn. Space Wolves. Success,
like they did
failure.
pretty well.
How do we feel in general about where they landed in the event? Obviously, all of this is with the massive asterisk because they played with the old Iron Priest.
Yeah, that's fair. So I suppose the relevant players there to like for my note are Grisha and Olivier
They had
from the
5
first. Like
players
they
in the
finished
top
first and
100.
second and third, right? Space Wolves came first, second, and third
Yes. And then
for Olivier, Spaethel, and Grisha.
They did pretty well in team stage as well, for the most part. Like,
Yeah. Kruker scored 95. Grisha scored 98. Olivier scored 100. Jesper scored 93. Finn scored 92. Spatho scored 95. Kev from Wales scored 80. And then let's just go through the last of them. You have 75 points from Malta James, 72 points from Cyprus's Vlad, 58 points from Hungary's Roland, 59 points from Bulgaria's Todor, and 58 points from Netherlands' Shores. So
pretty well.
Yeah.
It felt like no
pretty
Space Wolf player really did badly.
Yeah.
Like
Shout out to
58
Francois
being their
Lalonde
most
for being
pretty.
an absolute Chad and just falling completely under the wolf bus in their round against Poland. Where the war of the 4-ups, apparently, the Wolves won.
I am rolling a 12-shot Overwatch to kill a Pred. Got me an 11 versus Grisha's Wolves. Yeah, if that's what it takes to 11 Wolves. It's pretty rough. I had to kill Bjorn in combat to get an 11 Wolves.
I saw that. That was
Never didn't have it.
never, unless he went first.
Never didn't have it.
We saw all these perfect move blocks, and just kind of the entire time Joe and Adam were like, if it just went second, we don't think about that right now.
It was linchpin. It'd have been fine.
Probably.
I had like 4 layers of move blocks or 4 layers of screens there. I wasn't going to take that much damage. It would have been fine. And I'd have gotten rapid into Overwatch on turn 2 and been able to push harder. So I wasn't too upset with going second.
Yeah, it looks like some of the lists probably do change post nerf, but most of the top performing lists only had 2 Iron Priests in them.
Yeah, Olivier specifically cops a pretty bad hit from it because he was playing the 3. I think you're a lot more pushed towards Lancers than Predators, I think.
Yeah, and Lancers with the rerolls and everything are solid. And
or you just don't play. You just play like 2 plus turn also you move on with your life.
You just
Play a
need
couple
something to crack a
indicators is probably
transport
fine.
so that you don't sit there looking sadly with your strength 5 melee.
Or you don't
Just
play
take a
Black
couple of
Bars.
indicators. Just take a couple of indicators and be fine. You'll be fine. You'll blow up transports just fine.
I mean,
And you're
a
more
Predator and an
durable.
Iron Priest is about the same cost as a Vindicator.
True.
It certainly is. All right, let's do the plugs and then let's do the show questions.
Sure.
All right, guys, we are an hour and 20 into the show. If you're still enjoying and you'd like to support us a little bit, please do all the social things. That's liking, commenting, subscribing, leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform, whatever you got to do to just help get the word out about StatCheck. We really do appreciate it. It lets us continue to do things like having Typhus go to WDC and be on the commentary stream for Wargames Live, and supporting us going to tournaments. We're doing Eurotrash with StatCheck funding, all that good stuff. It really is appreciated if you guys can continue to help us out, and it's completely free. If you're in a position to support us a little bit more, and you would like to, you can check out the YouTube memberships program or patreon.com/statcheck. $5 a month gets you access to our Discord server where you can chat with us about everything and anything from WDC to singles events to health and welfare and all that good stuff. It's one of the active. It's a very active Discord. Is one of the places most welcoming places on the internet, I find. But I am legally required to say that as one of the owners. So pay us $5 and make your own judgment. Otherwise, if you want to see even more from StatCheck, you can check out the rest of the network at youtube.com/StatCheck. That will get you access to all of the other episodes of StatCheck, whether it's back episodes of us or back episodes of Takeover End of the Matrix, X1, or Champions of 40K. There should be an End of the Matrix episode of the Belgium, Liam, and Nassim hour, chatting all about the new WC and how well Belgium did, being the main one. But you can also hear Nas talking about how broken Guard are and how much he hates playing against Castellan robots. Castellan Knights. You can check out all of our sponsors. Their links are in the description. That's J15 Games, Will and Yutani, Saltar Games, and Red Dragon. You can find all the links in the description as well as various discount codes. Patrons do get a special bonus discount code to Red Dragon, which gets you 15% off on all purchases, as well as, I believe, 20% off store-wide for anything that's not 40K related. But Jeremy can verify that with a quick nod right now. Damn, I nailed it. And lastly, if you would like to work with any of our coaches, that's myself, any of the Takeover guys, Typhus, no, not Typhus, Pumbaa from from Old End of the Matrix, or Liam or Nassim from New End of the Matrix. You can check out stat-check.com/coaching, or you can drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com. Any of us would be happy to work with you, whether you're preparing for the hell meta games of the new Knights of Knights and Chaos Knights, or you're just working up for a tournament. We are obviously building up to WCW, LGT, LVO, Champs Cup, Eurotrash, Hellstorm All Stars. Whatever you're looking for. Yeah, if you've got an event coming up, we'd love to work with you. Drop us a message. I have a WDC to pay for, because the next one might be in May. So,
please May, and please France.
So yeah, we'll see
France
what
and May
happens.
would be nice.
France and May would be nice. So do check it out. It would really means a lot. We're now going to go into show questions. There are 3 ways to get your question answered on the show. One's to just ask a really good question in the live show every Tuesday at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern. We can't promise we'll answer it, but if it's a really good question, we'll probably get to you. The second is to leave a super chat, as so many wonderful people have been doing. Shout out to Derek Douglas for his $10 super chat saying October, freaking nerd, great. But that's not a day. So thank you for not doxing my birthday. And to that one guy, John, for the $5. Can't make it to the live between meetings. You guys are the best. Can't wait to hear all about it. Please be off GSE smoother and praise stuff for my dumb self. Aberrants could probably be like 20 points a model right now, and they still wouldn't be that good. So I think we can buff them a bunch. Please.
No, absolutely not in it.
Absolutely. 10-man aberrant squad should be 200 points and 5 res and 5 points to res.
I hate everything about what you just said, and I wish you hadn't said it.
But you heard what I said. I should be able to play three squads of 20 and 15 hyper ravs in final day.
No, we're gonna move over to the questions now from the patron Discord.
Are we?
That's all the super chats. Yeah, that's what we're doing, because I don't want to talk about this anymore, and it's giving me actual trauma right now. All right. First question from the Patreon Discord is from Logan, which says, if knights are not friends, why are they friend shaped? They are not friend shaped. Their hands are guns or swords or angry fists. They are not friend shaped. All right. The second question from Discord is from Alex H, which is, there were observations about pushes failing during games during WTC. Do you think there is something inherent in push play that makes it a riskier proposition in teams rather than singles?
Pushing just generally means take stupid risks to try to recover a game. Like, if your player isn't pushing in general, like, so there's two kinds of push. I think that's an important thing to say. One is your coach walks up to you and says, try something, we're losing, or we're drawing and we don't want it. We want to get out of that bracket. That usually involves doing some dumb stuff because you are just like, all right, man, I'm gonna just go for some nines that I wouldn't otherwise go for, right? Oh, I rolled this advance, it was a 3. That gives me a 9-inch charge. I'm gonna try it, right? That's a push call. That doesn't always work. Oh, hilarious that's Nathan's current away picture. Um, the other kind of push call is when you ask your coach if you should push, and that's different, right? That's me going up to you and saying, "Hey, I have a line here that I can take. It's +3 if it works and -3 if it doesn't." That's a different kind of push call. Those push calls are fine. Those are measured risks that the player is presenting to the coaching team based on the round result, and then you make that call based on your judgment. But those are like the player in the situation, rather than, and that's like, hey, you can take the safe path of the healthy path, and there are different ways to do it. In a singles environment, you would probably always play the safe version, but teams gives you the ability to not play the safe version. A push call is, hey, go and find one of those. But the metrics on it usually tend to be a lot worse. It's usually more like +2 if it works, -5 if it doesn't. And that's a much, and just the risk reward balance isn't the same when it's a inorganic push call. And what that usually results in is when pushes fail, they look bad and they're really, really, and like they make data analysis after the event really tough as well. Cause I can sit there and look at our matrix and go like, oh, cool. Well, you got a 7 that round. And you're just like, yeah, but I got a push call on turn 3. Like I as a GSC player get that occasionally where I'm like, dude, I deep struck already. Like, what do you want me to do? Am I going to just like try and gaslight you into shooting my 20 man so that I can lift it? That's what a push call looks like for me now, is me being really good at gaslighting. Like
Ben has some
that's
really good insight as well in the chat about some failing pushes, just as an aside if people want to look at them. Sorry, Ines, I threw off your train a little
yeah, no,
there.
it's totally fine. So yeah, like a push call is a thing that you do out of push call is a desperation play, and it has the risk reward analysis of a desperation play. If you make the call and it doesn't work, tough shit, right? Like you made the call. Um, as Ben says in chat, Typhus identified 2 call pushes earlier, miscalled them. USA into France. If they don't, they likely get the draw. I think, yeah, like they made push calls because a couple things went south a little early that ended up being mostly recovered, but not in a great way. But a bunch of games that were stable suddenly became unstable. And Poland into the US, Poland made a push call, and Poland would likely have gotten the win if they hadn't. Like, yeah, it happens, right? But I also know, for example, that Germany, Canada, on the contact loss stream in round 7, Germany made push calls before round 1. They made push calls during their pregame discussion because they felt like they got outpaired so heavily that their only out was to go aggressive. So I think they just said to all of their games to deploy on the line and go first, and they went first on 7 tables. And I'm pretty sure Germany crushed Canada because of it, right? There is a time and a place for that kind of call. Pre-game is the best time because you can make all of your decisions with the analysis that, hey, you're in a bad matchup. We had that against Denmark where we paired our ACDC list into World Eaters, and theoretically that matchup should be like a 3, maybe a 5 if we're lucky, but it was Search and Destroy, so it should be a lot worse. So we were just like, well, you're playing for nothing. We were expecting 0 out of you. Deploy on the line and play to go first. And yeah, he didn't, and it worked out anyway, but it shouldn't have. But knowing that before the game is very different. Whereas when you're making that push call early, that is the best time to do it, right? I had a decent amount of time for myself. Like I'm a pretty fast player. I don't know if anybody knows that. But I would very intentionally make sure that I took some time before my drop turn to just stop and wait to see what the round was looking like so I could make a decision about my drop turn with the most information, because that's a healthy time to push, right? I can take more aggressive slants with higher payoffs if I have that information beforehand. But once I'm on the table, like there's nothing you can do. Like I got a push call into the Netherlands, for example, and I ended up rapid ingressing a unit to walk forward and charge instead of to overwatch, because that gave me a much more higher upside if it went well, and I ended up getting the 20 in that game. But I very easily could have failed that stat A in charge with a reroll, but it doesn't always fail, and the fail case wasn't that big. But it's still not a line I would have taken if I was trying to win a singles game, right? I think it's just about finding that threshold.
The next question is from Ansar, which is, how do you think new books will affect the meta in general and the big three in particular? I suppose that's really just Grey Knights and Black Templars at this point.
And Votann, I guess,
And
right?
Votann, yeah, since we have the full preview book now.
Grey Knights
Um,
just seems like it's the same book with a polish on it. It's like got some like slightly different strengths, some slightly different weaknesses, but it's mostly just Grey Knights of old with, war purifiers do a bit more damage now, and there's a bit less defensive technology.
mhm.
It doesn't feel like significantly different. Maybe the all guns detachment is good enough that it like significantly changes things, but it didn't feel like it was going to be like world-endingly different.
Yeah.
Votann, I don't have a great picture on yet. It feels like it's going to be very good at punishing big vehicle skew lists, but a lot of its like alpha strike damage has gone quite far, and it's still quite short ranged, which does present some inherent implications on some terrain formats and against some matchups. I certainly wouldn't want to be brawling with thousands on the 24-inch range when I have much less ability to alpha strike them, for example. You look happy
Black
about that.
Templar seemed good.
You gonna close on those bowgoats with your land forts that don't have AOC anymore?
I don't know. All my shots have sustainer damage too. I like this.
You gotta get close though.
I don't. Well, good.
And then Black Templars just feels like it's another version of Melee Marines. Like it shoots pretty well, but is it that different to Blood Angels or Space Wolves or Ultramarines Gladius? It's still just Space Marine dudes. It's still just
Feels-
Gladius.
Feels
Yeah,
like
man,
Space
don't get
Wolves might
connected
actually
to by.
do it.
Yeah. If you get connected to by Sword Brethren, you're probably dead. But are you that much more dead than if Sanguinary are connected to you?
It does feel like Space Wolves perhaps are the better melee pressure army than Black Templar are, maybe.
Yeah, I need to see how much the Iron Priest changes that, right? Like, yes, Space Wolves are pretty solid, but Space Wolves do have a very real damage problem where a lot of their stuff is capped to strength 5 without access to like really easy access to lands and stuff like that. They have a couple. They're very good at having a couple of things do a lot of damage, whereas Black Templars are a lot better at dispersing that damage. Just with the like almost army wide +1 to wound all the time.
Yeah, that will make it a lot easier for their melee units to actually just that are mostly still strength 5 just punch through things.
Yeah, exactly. Just having like especially Stormlands having a limited land stratagem, like it being mounted only, really really hurts. And I'm a bit more worried about Gladius for like after the Iron Priest nerf.
I do wonder. It'll be interesting to see how that works.
And
I
the
think both of them
Salamandra
are
is going to change nothing. So
yeah. Right.
But I can't wait to see what the Iron Hands version of Ironstorm looks like.
Yeah, if that is the preview that we're gonna get a White Scars version of Stormlands, or not? Yeah, Stormlands. That'll be funny.
Give me the Iron Hands Storm,
please no.
The Iron Stormier.
Yeah, the
exactly.
Iron.
All it does is it swaps out the ignore mod stratagem for one. Or it just swaps out Mercy's weakness for a 1 CP version, but you're not allowed to play Ultramarines.
Instead of Iron Storm, it'll be Steel Rain. That'll be the Steel Rain detachment. All right.
Hell yeah.
Lucas E, your question is kind of addressed a little earlier where we looked at lists and faction performance, surprises and kind of letdowns earlier in the WTC segment. Floof has a question, which is Malta was top performing GSC. Does this mean Outlander Claw is actually busted and Host is very fine and okay?
No.
They're both busted.
It does not.
They're from both.
There you go.
Host of Ascension needs buffs, guys. Like the melee detachment, the melee stuff in it is unplayable.
Moving on. Goran has the next question, which is first, congrats, Innes, to a great run at War Masters. Your games were one of the best to watch. I too love grenades. This is the second part of that. Anthony is not here, unfortunately, so we will save that for later. For Anthony and Innes, as both teams took the same CSLM list, how do you think it performed? Any changes that you'd consider?
It was a complete sledgehammer in pairings. Like teams were very, very scared of it. The actual like overall performance of it was fairly mixed. I think the biggest one we found was that occasionally you appear into Chaos Knights, and like Folger in particular, his game against Skark, I think he said he handed Canis Rex 60 saves from a Curse Cultist, and he ended the game on 18 wounds. And it's one of those situations where, yeah, you shouldn't be able to bounce, but Knights are just so volatile that sometimes you do anyway. And I think across most rosters, we found that it didn't matter how good your Knight answer was, sometimes it just didn't work. And Chaos Cults was one of the best versions of the Night Answer, and it still didn't matter. It still just sometimes didn't work, and that was inherently a little frustrating. I think the only one that never really bounced was Eldar, and I think that was it. I think every other version, like even Anthony's anti Knights anti Knights World Eaters list, had his game into Fred on Team Germany, where he just Angron connected into 2 damage or 6 damage, and the Mauler Fiends connected into 2 damage, and the Knights are just there's so few wound count and so volatile, and doing 20 damage to them doesn't matter. You have to do 26 or 28, or you might as well have not interacted with them. And that was just inherently frustrating. And I think that's the biggest thing that I dislike about Chaos Knights or Knights and Chaos Knights in the metagame is that they're just so binary in whether they're alive or dead. Because if you charge an AZDC brick into Canis Rex and you leave them on 3, which shit happens. Sometimes it's a lot more than 3, and then Canis Rex punches you, and then he does it again in his turn, and he shot you on the way through. And it's just like that's unsustainable for any army. It just makes them so incredibly volatile and so difficult to pair around. It was really nice to have the answers, but yeah, we just didn't have them, or didn't have it consistently enough. But yeah, no, the list was great. I don't know if I would change almost anything about it. I think there's maybe a world where it would be nice to have like an extra squad of trigger guardsmen in there, maybe. But it seems like they were both pretty happy with the sort of general concept of it. You would need to speak to them specifically. I've not really debriefed with either of them about it.
Clown Mode 3626 thank you for the $4.99 super chat. If Belgium, Scotland, and Canada become tier 1, does England become the spookiest tier 2 team? Did England
don't think England are at risk of dropping
enough to fall to a tier 2?
No, I don't think England are at risk of dropping right now.
No, right now, if people are interested, right now England would be 8th.
Yep.
Belgium would be 9th. Scotland would be 10th. The teams that fall out are specifically the Netherlands, Spain. Yeah, the Netherlands and Spain.
Yep. It would have to be 31 teams before England could drop.
And then,
which probably isn't going to happen.
No.
Ben Jurek has a 7-month thank you question, which is: I have a GT next week. Imperial Knights, Chaos Knights, Eldar, or T-Suns?
Eldar.
Do it. Just do it. Just play 25 Fire Dragons.
You're better than every Thousand Suns player you could play against, and that's the only bad matchup in the top set besides GSC, and no one plays GSC.
It's true. I wouldn't want to play that. I played that cursed matchup, and I felt terrible the whole time.
It's not good. GSC is very hard to play.
I clawed my way to a 10-point loss is what happened in that matchup.
Every single round in the War Masters game was like, I am scoring high, so I don't have to play you. I'm like, yeah, all right, Liam.
John the King Potato has the next question, which is: in the rounds dropped by your respective teams, did it feel more like a matrix or pairing issue or performance/gameplay issue that moved the dial toward an undesirable result?
For us against Australia, they were just stronger than us. They were just on every table. It was just a little bit. I told my team last year the thing we needed to do if we wanted to get better was we needed to turn our losses into draws and our draws into wins. And we got part of the way there. We turned a lot of our losses into draws this year, right? And we did a good job of that. We're working on turning our draws into wins, but we had a couple of low scoring wins, but mostly, our wins were pretty comfortable against the teams we were expected to beat. But we got that 87 into Denmark and stuff like that, right? And I think for this round, we had a couple of our 10s turn into 6s and a couple of our 12s turn into 10s. And then we had a couple of games that we thought were like 14s turn into 8s and 6s and 5s. And that was just player skill difference on a lot of the tables, or lack of understanding of how much a board affect the matchup. And that's the biggest difference, right? I think a lot of the time when you talk to, like, I spoke to the UN team after the run against Sweden, and they were like, yeah, we felt like we got fine on the pairings, but every single board they got changed the matchup fundamentally, and we just didn't grok that. And I think we're still working on that. For some of our players that was working, but for some of them it just wasn't. And it just, there's some time needed there still.
And then the second part of John's question is: Innes, what was the name of the baked treats you brought? And thank you for one.
Those were flapjacks made with porridge oats and golden syrup.
And then Andy has the next question. Which
Thanks for the force of notification.
After a major competitive event, what do you do for a wargaming palate cleanser to prevent full burnout?
I'm playing Space Marines.
Space Marines.
Play something simple.
Space Marines. Play Knights. Or if you need something completely 40k, like not 40k, go
got
do something else.
my High Marshal Helbrecht because he's cool as
Right.
shit.
Yep.
And I got the Bayard's Revenge Emperor's Champion that I crammed onto a 40 mil base.
Ennis, can you explain to the Americans what a flapjack is in baked good terms?
Yeah,
so,
that's a very different thing in North America.
Yeah,
I just remembered that other people need context.
Yeah, it's
Share a
hard to.
picture.
It's like an oat cake, but like really. I'm struggling.
Because yeah, flapjacks in the United States are pancakes.
Okay, it's not that at all. So I'm working on it.
No, you're fine.
Closest thing to compare a flapjack would be to like a granola bar.
So yeah, so
or
they're
like
like
a cereal bar.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So it's like it's made of porridge oats or like any other kind of oats, and then you basically you mix it with like butter, golden syrup, and sugar, and then golden syrup is just I don't even know how to describe what golden syrup is because Ben hadn't even heard of it. I had to give him a can or tin. It's like significantly sweeter treacle, I suppose. It's like that same kind of like
people are also not
honey-ish.
going to know what treacle is.
Yeah,
The problem
it's like
here.
it's like it's a molasses type substance.
Yeah, it is basically like
It's like really sweet molasses. It's like kind of honey tasting, but not honey-ish. And you mix it all together and you use it to like congeal, and then you congeal the oats together, and then you bake it. Yeah, much better corn syrup. It's like a golden molasses, says Ben.
Yeah. See, this is why we just use maple syrup.
Yes, that and a plethora of trees that you.
Not everyone knows what treacle is, apparently. Kr,
No,
yeah, it's like
most people do not.
The same company that you would get golden syrup from in the UK, which is Lyle's, also makes a treacle. That's in the red tin, not the green tin. And treacle tastes like shit, but
the next
they're very nice. It takes like 20 minutes to make it, and they're wonderful. And I was able to cram like 60 little 2-inch bars of it in my suitcase, so people were getting it distributed at WTC.
The next question is an obligatory food question from Andy to follow up on our obligatory food question a second ago. What is the oddest combination of food you've tried that ended up working out? Peanut butter and pickle sandwich. I'm looking at you is the parentheses next to it. I really liked durian key lime pie. That was my favorite. Most people just don't like durian, but it's really nice when you make it sweet and in a pie, like key lime pie.
I think the issue with durian is more just having to deal with preparing it.
That's fair too. I used, to be fair, a durian coffee mix essentially in order to make the key lime pie.
I would do it.
Some people really like pickle and alcohol, like pickle juice and alcohol, like pickle shooters to follow up like hard alcohol shots, which is not mine, but other people kind of like it. But yeah. All right. Jason K has the next question is, what do you do if you realize after the event that you made a mistake that would have affected the outcome of a game at a GT plus sized event? Would you hold yourself to a different standard because you're content creators and pillars/members of the community than for the average tournament goer? I think everybody has to hold themselves to the same standards. And if you hold yourself to different ones as a celebrity, that's kind of weird, but you should try to be an exemplar of the hobby and hold yourself to that higher standard so that everybody else also follows that higher standard.
Yeah, the only time I've ever been made aware of an issue, I stepped down from the tournament between day 2 and 3, between day 1 and 2.
Yeah, what I definitely wouldn't do would be attend an event with an extra model on the table, especially when I am good friends with those who run the events, and then suffer no real penalties for my misdemeanor.
Back in ye olden days of variable squad sizes, I'm sure at least one time that I'll have had a 667 of a models and I brought 666 or 776 and brought 777 and just not noticed. I'm sure it's happened, but
sure,
I can't say I remember it. Yeah, the only time I ever did I was over by 10 points because I'd put the wrong enhancement on my list and then played with the right one, which was a dumb mistake.
Also, if you find yourself having made a mistake, just own up to it, tell people, and like be obvious and suitably like apologetic about it. Like if you find out you made a mistake, get in front of it and do the right thing as a sportsmanship thing. That's all you can do.
And also like give yourself some grace. No perfect game of Warhammer has ever been played. Your opponent assuredly made some mistakes as well. But yeah, it kind of depends how impactful it was. Not that I'm, yeah, like if you played a rule significantly wrong or whatever, right? Like be aware of that. But if you picked up an extra dice one time, shit happens,
Yeah.
right? Like there's no way
There's
your
no such
opponent
thing as a
did-
perfect game of Warhammer by any means, but
exactly.
everyone should basically hold themselves to the same thing of like,
There's
you're going to play in multiple events over the course of a year for the average player. You're allowed to throw an event if you found out that you made a big mistake or even a small mistake. Everyone is going to interact with that differently.
there are spectrums and levels to mistakes, like Innes just said as well.
I would love to say
Like,
like
if you-
just don't make any mistakes, but like frankly, everyone does. I am sure if I was going to go and sit and watch every game I played over the weekend, that something went wrong somewhere. And I would like to think that there is some level of grace to these things, but shit does indeed happen.
Travis M has the next question, which is: with the potential of 44 teams, 11 pods, and the influence France and the Belgium/Germany draw had on the final standings, what is the opinion on adding additional round? It's going up to 8.
I wouldn't
Be
mind,
interesting.
but it pushes the War Masters back another day, right? Suddenly it's a Sunday to Monday event, right? Sunday the week before, it's an 8-day event if you want to do everything, because now War Master finals can't be on the same day as the main event because you have to do 2 on the Thursday, 2 on the Friday, 2 on the Saturday, 2 on the Sunday. I think it is unnecessary to the scope of the event at the moment.
That makes sense.
Next question is from Ed B. How about them Space Dwarves? Jeremy, on a scale of 1
6
to 10.
Capricus carry, 6 Capricus Far and Fady tanks. Go, 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 go.
They are pretty fun.
The answer then is to play 18 Steeljacks and however many Capricuses you can fit.
Man, I want Steeljacks to be better than they are.
I was not that impressed with that data sheet when I read it.
Yeah, like they are tanky. They're really annoying to kill.
Tanky
But
for what they are, though, right? They're not like 10th edition durable.
Correct.
Like that unit, it's not a unit that can stand on an objective in front of an army and be there at the end. And you're not playing an army that's that like. I think the biggest problem I have with Votann is that they're not an army that can do repercussion damage that well at that range. If you want to try to stand Steeljacks in the open on an objective, on the middle objective, say, and they die from 30 inches away, what are you doing about it, man? You're playing Votann. You're gonna fire your fucking well, sure, man. Your boars sustain 2. Good luck. Godspeed.
Mm-hmm.
You're not killing the knight at the back of the board that just shot those guys. So you really want your repercussion damage to be closer range than that is, or you want it to be like small shit that's dying. So like 5, and I think that like opens up stuff like the 5s of Jaegirs being a lot more interesting, right? Like if I want someone to go on an objective, I want it to be like 5 Berserk, because 5 Berserk still does mostly the same damage as it used to, against like smaller targets. So that's a much more reasonable trading piece to me than Steeljacks is.
That's fair. The next question would be from Rickard, but it's just busy work, so I'm skipping it.
Or Rickard.
Like, that's just a busy work question that we can answer later. That's fine. Thomas C has the question that is a real question, which is, I know Anthony is a big proponent of sticking with one faction and getting really good at it, but what are the conditions where one might go, this is a bit too garbage despite my skill, and move to another faction?
When you don't enjoy learning with the army. If you're playing it and you just feel like you're playing it for the sake of playing it, and you're not feeling like you're learning anything, and you're not feeling like you're enjoying the process, move on, right? I think that's really the answer. You have to enjoy the process of learning the army to really be getting the most out of it. If you don't like the thing you're playing, you should move on.
100%.
Yeah.
The next question is from John the King Potato, which is, if you were to play France, after seeing the tournament play out, would you change anything about your comp or pairing strategy?
We didn't play France. I don't know about USA.
Yeah,
I feel like for our comp, we wanted one more night answer. I really wish we'd had Eldar, probably in Space of Tyranids. That was the one thing I wish we had had.
Reasonable. Payton is the next, which is, Zangor and Lighten are obviously cracked. Pretty much every list at WTC took 18. Someone who's very interested in T-Sons but cannot find in Zangor and Lighten in stock anywhere. The prints I've seen are questionable at best. What units would you all suggest I run in their stead? until I can acquire them or GW nurse them into the ground.
You have like 10 Scarab Cult Terminators
They're pretty
with
good.
a sorcerer. Maybe just copy Jessen's list point for point and play that instead.
There you go. Paul has the next question, which is, now that the cursed team season is finally finished, what was some tech you were hiding from other teams?
I mean, I don't even like, we weren't even really hiding the ACDC list. We just didn't develop it until like a week and a half before the tournament or before list submission. I think, yeah, none of our lists were really like hiding anything. The for Scotland, I don't want to speak too much to the USA. Like the Night Spoiler, I suppose, was like reasonably not out there. Like people were playing it in singles, but it wasn't insanely popular. Obviously my GSC list wasn't our Thousand Suns list. Like there was nothing that was really, yeah, like it was kind of hidden. What was the ACDC list? That was the Chaos Cults, 3 squads of a Cursed Cultist with champions, and then 3 Predators, a Disco Lord, and a grab bag of of damned units. It played very well. It was very good answer into Knights, but it also played well into things like Eldar and any other like short range shooting armies like Guard or Votann, things like that. It played pretty well into, especially if it was the less spikes versions that a bunch of teams were playing.
The next question is from
suppose. I guess like USA had Anthony's Angron list. That I don't think it was anyone's cards, and also a little bit the Space Wolves, right? I don't think anyone was like had exactly the same versions for Space Wolves. A lot of teams had like very convergent evolution, but I don't know how well they were working together.
And then
I
don't think that Space Wolves was really like a stretch for very many people to
no,
look at
exactly.
And go, that's going to be good.
And then maybe Nick's. I know that the USA were like pretty. Hey, we think Nick's Warhost list is secretly our second best list. Let's be very cognizant that we don't. But like a lot of teams landed on. Like I don't think Fuigan and 10 Fire Dragons was a massive stretch for teams to land on. So yeah, I think it was. I didn't feel like there was too much like you opened it. Like France had obviously the most like what the fuck lists, right?
It's hard to argue with them at the end of the day.
It's always hard to argue with them.
And then Floof has the next question, which boils down to, Innes, would you change anything about not taking either Knight faction to WTC?
No.
Okay.
Fuck Knights. Knights suck.
What? And then do you want to talk about the rationale behind not taking any Knights?
We basically figured that there's a grid square matrix for Knights at WTC. You can either bring Knights and build to beat Knights, bring Knights, not build to beat Knights, not bring Knights, build to beat Knights, or not bring Knights and not build to beat Knights. And we figured that most teams were going to fall in the category of bring Knights and beat to build Knights. And we decided to try to sidestep both sides of that by building to beat Knights and building and not bringing them to avoid other teams' Knight counters. So we tried to avoid lists that were like beaten by the same things that beat Knight lists, and also build to beat Knight lists ourselves. And I think that broadly represented pretty well in being one of the reasons we did as well as we did. Because when we played into the tougher teams we played against, they had Knight lists, and their Knight answers didn't have great answers for us. So we broadly, and a lot of that is the player skill difference against some of the pool 1 seeds, but we were able to overcome a lot of that by just having a better comp. And I think I was very happy with our composition. I think comp is one of the few things that having significantly stronger players lets you leverage, or like having 1 or 2 players that are just some of the best in the room. And to do my own horn, myself or Liam, right? For the case of us as pool 2 seeds, being able to just leverage the informational advantage that we have to build better comps is one of the reasons that we can do as well as we did. I think I choose to believe that. Whether I'm right or not is entirely up for debate, but it's my rationale.
Sean has the next question, which is, how are we feeling 2 years into the current version of leaders? I think it's fine. Like, there are going to be some haves and have-nots, which I suppose you can see with Space Wolves not having any mounted leaders anymore.
I don't think you should be allowed to bring leaders without a unit. I think you should have to have them attached, and it should be on your list.
I think that's reasonable.
So you're saying they should be locked to what they're attached to?
They should be locked to a unit. You should buy them with a unit on your list. I think that would avoid shit like Solo Fuigan. And it would allow you to design characters to be just independent. Shit like the Gravis Captain just being solo beat stick man shouldn't be a thing. I don't like that. Lone ops should be lone ops, and leader should be with units.
Yeah,
I think that's reasonable.
I don't know if it necessarily needs to be like it goes with this unit. I think the idea of it can't start Like
Yeah.
similar to dedicated transports, where they fix
Yeah.
the transport abusement by saying you have to start a unit in
Yeah,
it.
and
You
then
basically
if
say
there's
if
any
a leader's not a loan up,
enhancements,
it has to
yeah.
attach.
And if there's an
Yeah.
enhancement that buys loan up, it's the loan up keyword that prevents you as a character from. Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that. I think that's the best of both worlds, where if like a dedicated transport, you don't have it attached to a unit, it explodes and dies. I think that's funny.
Because then it doesn't punish people who are like, I have, as an example, using Eldar just because autarks exist. I have autark with jump pack that I want to attach to either warp spiders or whatever the other option is.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should have to pick it list building, but
I tend to agree more with Jeremy on this one. More like
that's fair.
dedicated transports.
I don't think it's a big deal. I just think it would.
I don't think it's a massive deal. I just like having the flexibility of, hey,
There's nothing I
these are the
hate
two
more than a
options that I
Tyson
want
Sun's
to do.
player getting to look at my army and go, "You don't have any guns," and then not attaching their loan ups, their sorcerers for a loan up.
Right, the next question's from John, because we have so many more questions to get through.
Oh my god!
What was the assessment of Emperor's Children and Blood Angles, not angels, angles?
Easy was really good into everything that wasn't knights. This metagame was very infantry e heavy, and I think broadly the Emperor's Children Matrix was really good against everything that wasn't knights. And John particularly felt very good about it going into the event. But the Matrix into knights is really, really bad. So you have to be very comfortable with pairing it.
Yeah, or else it's very easy to just oops.
BA felt fine. It had, again, it was one of those lists that could conditionally answer knights if it played it on the right tables, and that gave it a lot of value. Where Space Wolves broadly did not want to play knights, and that was kind of our preference for Blood Angels over.
And Chris Polly has the next question, which was, what was the most surprising team this year and why is it Spain? It's actually not Spain. If someone would have told me a week ago Spain would lose 4 games in a row, I would have said they were lying.
It was definitely Portugal, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Spain doing poorly is because they didn't bring this team from last year, because they didn't agree with decision about Leoben in particular, is my understanding of that situation.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Portugal just kind of crushed it. Shout out to Gustavo and the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Also, Latvia. Again, I will shout out Latvia as well as the other.
Yeah, Latvia did amazing. Czechia also did really good. Good job, Czechia.
Czechia's been on a rise lately. It's been very fun
just
to
keeps
watch
getting better.
Right. Pius has the next question, which is, what's the perfect system for WTC player selection? I think France has a really good system for it. Like, they got leagues to help pick their teams, and they have like an established teams league that helps them pick players. Like, that seems like the right way to go, but
it can lead to some players not being picked up earlier.
The France system gives you the best players if you trust the captain.
Sure.
And I think that's like the France system, the captaincy is a pure meritocracy in the sense that the winning leagues, they run a tournament, the captain that wins that event becomes the captain of the WC team, and then they have basically full discretion to pick their team. And if you trust that captain, that's probably the best system because it produces the best player as the captain, or the best team captain from that system as a captain. Whether they're the best player on the team or not is entirely relevant. The captain becomes the captain, and that captain has free discretion to pick players. Theoretically, they are the best at running a team, so they get the ability to run the team at the national scale with taking the advice of people they trust. If you trust that captain, it's the best system. If you don't trust that captain, it's a really bad system. So I think the system kind of relies on it. You can look back at France's previous results and see that in the years that France has done well, it's been when they've had a captain that's very good at doing that. And when they've done more poorly, it's when they've had a captain that has not had the right approach. And I think at the moment, France are lucky to have a very, very good set of people doing the captaincy role that is developing a great team behind it. But that it would be very easy for that to not look great as well.
Yeah, I think Italy follows, not to the same degree, but they still have a similar way of choosing their captain, and it hasn't worked for them in a similar way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think systems that provide like a way for anyone to get in while also rewarding consistency, right? Like you have to pick people that are good at the game, but you also have to be able to pick players that are good at teams and not necessarily at singles, and that you can't run a pure like singles results based system. Like there needs to be some level of discretion, some level of input. I think the perfect system is one that gives you the most information that, and that there isn't really a best system. You have to just, at some level of this, you're going to rely on interpersonal relationships and non-deterministic skill sets, and I think that that is all you kind of have. I don't think there's the best or worst.
Yeah, and there is no perfect system realistically. You could look at it from the perspective of, because there's always the, well, why is so and so the captain of this nation's team? And a lot of times it comes down to, well, they were the captain and they continue to be the captain. And then others, it's a more democratic process where it's like, well, they were the captain, but then they got consensus from the major teams in their country to be like, yes, I should keep leading, or I should step down and someone should take my place. So in terms of selecting the people, it should be accessible. It shouldn't be based on who necessarily. It should be merit based as much as possible. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a level of subjectivity to it. It's impossible to come up with a purely objective way of choosing players.
At some point, you're just picking, and there is always some picking.
Yeah, it's like talking to the American captains every year. It's always that this is the hardest time is when they come down to trying to select their starters, because they go, we have a dozen people, any of whom could fill this 8th spot. And I don't think there's a wrong answer.
Right.
Agreed.
All right. Where are we at again?
Brendan
with War Masters this past week. I was wondering, what singles events do you all think as the premier singles events in the world?
War Masters, LGT. Probably just
I really
those
like
two.
the Tacoma.
I would put Worlds in
really
there.
Good.
I wouldn't.
I would, just for the caliber of competition.
I think Worlds is too inaccessible.
Hopefully that changes, but yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I think if not anyone who wants to go can go, it can't be the most premier event.
What do you mean?
Like, the ability for anyone to go to War Masters is part of the appeal to me, because if the best player in the world only plays teams in France that doesn't, like, you literally can't buy a golden ticket in Scotland. There isn't one.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Like, there are some places that just don't have golden tickets. Not anyone can go. Anyone can go to War Masters. Anyone can go to LGT. Anyone can go to LVO. Fortunately, LVO is played on GW terrain, which means it can't be a premier event in my head. I'm just being shitty. Yeah, because it's invite only. If you're the best player in the world and you didn't get a ticket, you can't go. And to me, that means that it can't be a premier event in the same capacity.
Actually really liked Tacoma, so I think that would also be like a really good event if you're in like the North America kind of hemisphere for a world event, like going to
I've never been to a GW Open event, so I can't comment on any of them.
That's not true.
Tacoma, you went to Worlds, didn't you?
You did Fest.
No, Fest wasn't a GW Open. It was just Warhammer.
It was basically a GW Open. It was run by the same crew, same terrain, even.
Yeah, and it was
across the Atlantic.
Extremely fine.
Yeah. Okay. I think if you're in the North American sphere, Tacoma is like a really good event to go to. It's run really well. It's like a lot of fun to go to. A lot of really good players can go to it. The event.
Sorry, say KR Quinn. I am not specifically talking about how difficult it is to go to. I'm talking about how difficult it is, the fact that it is not open to anyone. Anyone can go to LGO or LGT or Tacoma. You just have to buy a ticket. You have to qualify for Worlds, which means it definitionally cannot be open invitation. And I think
it's not an open event.
The second that it's not open invite, it cannot be a premier competitive singles event.
Yeah.
Worlds is really cool for what it is, but it is not an open tournament.
Yeah, I guess that's valid.
Lyndon has the next question, which is, how many rep X's is everyone building? 2 or 3? And if you were going to go to a tournament next weekend, would you bring Ultramarines Gladius or Black Templar Gladius?
Well, I'm playing with Black Templar Gladius for a tournament next weekend with 2 rep X's, so that can give you my answer. I think Black Templar Gladius is incredibly untested, and it remains to be seen if it is actually competitive, and we know Ultramarines Gladius is good. I would, if I was going to try to, LGT was next week and I've got no time to prep and I had to pick between the two, I would take Ultramarines Gladius because I know that I can potentially win the tournament with that, and I don't know that about Templar Gladius yet. Ask me again in a month, that might be an entirely different question, my entirely different answer, unfortunately.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I have 2 rep X's, but I'm not going to play Templars because that army just doesn't appeal to me. Plus, I got Votann built.
Yeah.
I
I
love
like
it.
2 rep X's. I think 3 might be too many. 3 is a lot of points. That's a lot. Ian P has the next question, which is, what's going to be the best detachment in Leagues of Votann, and why is it still indexed for some damn reason?
I actually think the transport one will be better, depending on how they end up ruling the disembark strat.
I think
And
they
if it
have
gets
to change that to be if you disembark from a transport this turn, you can't charge.
That changes fine. All of the other ways that you can abuse that stratagem are
Sure.
hilarious.
But I think you've got to start with that one, and then we see how balanced it is. But I think you can't just have that strategy be 1 CP assault ramp for everything.
Yep.
Oh, I don't disagree, especially since it's 0 CP because you just stick that idiot Uthar behind the wall near it.
Does it target the transport or the unit?
Targets the transport.
Fuck's sake.
Because remember, you can't target units and transports unless it specifies
You
otherwise.
could just say that it can target the unit in the transport.
I know.
God, I hate this.
Transport liminal space strikes again.
I hate transports.
GW, get consistent.
Transport should be banned in tournaments. Too many dumb rules.
All right.
Ban transports, indirect aircraft, Primarchs, Knights.
Titanic.
Nope. All right. I've had enough. Nonsense already.
Just anything Nathan thinks is fun, I think should be banned.
Fuck. That's a lot of things. All right.
There
Our
goes
rapid
Space Wolves, there goes Templars.
Son of a. And there goes
Thunderwolves.
Eldar. There go both Knight varieties. All sorts of things are fun.
Dracari.
Anything with a 2-wound sergeant because it makes fast rolling a
Tyranid.
pain.
Tyranids. All right. Eric has the next question, which is, are rapid ingress and grenades too strong? Do they need to be toned down? I don't think grenades is too strong. Rapid ingress is
Menace is
yeah,
always looking for
grenades
new
is
ways
way
to
too
throw
strong.
grenades. So
Grenades is genuinely a broken strategy. It really, really should just do 2 more wounds.
I can do free damage to you, and you have no defense against it.
Grenades
Yes,
should
there's a
probably
randomness to it, but
I think grenades should be on a 2-up, deal D3 plus 1 more wounds.
I hate 2-up abilities.
I do too. But if it like, there should be a chance to do 0, and then you should do 2 to 4, or 1 to 3, or just have it be D3 more wounds for automatically.
Or it could be on a 1 do 1, 2 to 4 do D3,
sure.
and then on a
And
5 do 2, and then 6 do D3 plus 1 or something like that. Like,
Or flat.
don't
3
make
or
it
whatever, but
excessive, but
the fact that it can do 6 is bullshit. The fact that it can do 0 is also bullshit.
make it so it does 1 guaranteed and scales up to 5 somehow.
Rapid ingress probably shouldn't let you deep strike. It should have to come off a board edge.
probably.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
probably.
honestly think that rapid
I think it's too
ingress
late to
is
change
the
it
more
now,
polarizing
because rapid
stratagem.
ingress is definitely holding the edition together with sticks and stones. But it should it should have a restriction on it. You should have to come off a board edge. It should have to be outside 12. Just something.
Rapid ingress should have to be declared, not necessarily done, but declared at the start of the movement phase.
I mean, it might as well be, right? But
Right.
yeah, something like it's
right.
far too.
And then we've
strong.
got 3 more questions. Nathan is probably starting
Yeah.
to run out, so I'm gonna ask those last few. But Goran
No,
asked
it's
now that
okay. Actually, I can just do it. It's fine. But
now that the WTC is over and all can gather their thoughts, what nerfs should be applied to the top armies in the game, and what buffs should the struggling armies get? I mean,
I don't have great ideas for buffs for struggling armies, unfortunately.
nerfs for the top armies, I think it's just points.
I think points for everything except Death Guard.
I think even Death Guard can be fixed with points.
I think Death Guard, the -1 save needs to be my +1 AP. I just fundamentally think it can't stay -1 save.
I think it should be ignore cover.
Sure, I could
That'll
see
work,
that. Like,
sure.
it doesn't work in melee at all. Yeah. I think it should be +1 to AP so that it interacts better with cover, AOC, and yeah, and it's just less weird.
It is very frustrating to be shot by, say you have a 2-up save that you paid a premium for, and the best you can ever make it is a 3-up because they've modified your characteristic.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it should be changed to that, and then I think everything else you can broadly fix with points. But yeah, I think that, or it shouldn't apply to indirect. Like the hammer, like whatever. Right?
I think you can bring hammer in. Just
I think
by
you could
saying
make
you have to
230, and then we're fine. We don't have to worry about it. But
yeah,
it also probably, and then I think the thing with that as well is that if you change it to +1 AP to Death Guard weapons, it wouldn't apply to allied Chaos Knights, and I like that.
Then that fixes the ally problem entirely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think those 2 changes, I think that's the only rule change I think they actually need. I think you could like there's a wording cleanup you need to do with the Lord of Contagion stand back up ability for hilarious reasons.
No, I think it's funny that only one gets to stand back up in the same
No,
phase.
it's the fact that if you kill one that's already used its ability and then kill another one, it's not the first one to die, so it doesn't get to use its ability.
I
even
think
though
that's
the other one
fine.
didn't stand back up.
What the fuck? 'Em.
Yeah, like I think I would change that for the. I think I would change that. The only change I think they like need. I think the rest of the things are like, yeah, okay, you can fix everything else with points. I think Death Strike should probably go back down to 6 attacks on their sweep instead of 8. Like that's a very privileged position, as a Union Circle player. Where fucking goddamn, I hate that unit. But yeah, broadly, I think the main thing, I think that I would change that, and then everything else. Knights, no big knight should be less than 400 points.
Just put Imperial Knights back to the points they were at before they did the profile change. Like if you do that, they were doing great beforehand, and they'll still do well because
GSD also probably need at least one rules change.
Sure.
I would, as much as I hate to say it, I think the go back and reserve stratagem should be at the end of the phase. If you had attack resolved against you, go back and reserve. Whether it's and then let it be shooting and melee, but
I'd allow you to be pulled out of melee with it.
Yeah, they already fucking do that, right? Like it removes a lot of the feel bad with coherency as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
You just like, hey, dude, you can just go back and reserve. But
other thing is
honestly, just change it to a go back and reserve at the end of the turn. Your opponent's turn stratagem. Just make it a go back and reserve strat.
Back to what it used to be.
Yeah, back to what it used to be. It's better in a lot of contexts. It's worse in others, but at least you know that if the unit's in front of you, you can fucking kill it.
Yeah.
And then I think you need to put point changes on Primus and Benefactus. And then you can maybe like compensation buff like aberrants and shit like that no one plays. But yeah, I think host needs those changes. I think you could also probably should change Prime and Ready to be successful hit rolls of 5+.
I don't think that's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary, but I think if you were just like looking to tune it down,
how much is that strat?
Yeah, change it to like so if you smoke against it, it works, right?
No, it was more along the lines of like I don't like that. Just gets kind of confusing when it comes to the interaction with crit hits.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, you just change it to successful hit rolls of 5+, right?
But that doesn't mean anything, as we've been through before.
Sure. Well, no, you just have to not leave unmodified. You just have to not have unmodified successful hit rolls of 5+, right? Like whatever. Make it work the way that it intuitively should, right? And then I think you're probably looking at like, and then points changes probably make it fine. Bikes probably should go back to where they were. Like they did need to come down in points and reinforcement points. And maybe again things that I think are really nuanced changes that only some people are going to like. Banner res could probably move to being in the movement phase rather than in the command phase, so that they can't scan primary and things like that. Like I think there are a lot of things you could do, but that hits everything in GSE pretty hard, and it's a lot of the power. Like, but it's a lot of. I think the thing that's always really frustrating as a player that plays a faction is when you hit obvious power and not hidden power, because if you hit that, if you make that change, everybody that plays GSC that doesn't play GSC looks at that and goes, well, that doesn't fucking change anything. And everyone that plays GSC looks at that and goes, oh, well, that makes my army fucking significantly worse in a way that no one gives a shit about and will give me no sympathy for. And I think it's much more easy to hit obvious power. You could potentially make the Primus not give reroll all hit rolls. Make it like reroll ones to hit and make him significantly cheaper, or let him be joined like Benefactus units, maybe like double attach, or give him +1 to hit and reroll ones, maybe, or something like that, right? Just significantly change him so that it's just less feels bad interaction, but he's a lot more interesting with acolytes, for example. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do with Gene. There's a lot of levers you can pull. My immediate worry is they're going to pull all of them, but I'm not playing Host of Ascension anymore, so.
Let them pull all the levers for a few months, and it says
exactly. Yep. Let them pull all. If they're bad, if they get nerfed now, they're going to be great in 11th because everyone will forget about them.
Valid. All right, we've got. Oh, people keep adding questions. Okay, no more questions added after now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Space Wolves or Black Templars looking stronger?
We mentioned
Space Wolves are more proven,
maybe.
but I've just got the Iron Priest nerf. Black Templars seem interesting, but have a real lots of characters in lots of baskets problem while being toughness 4 3 with no infantry invulnerable, no invulnerable save infantry. There we go.
Yeah. And then the very last question is from Ivan: how many Iron King Steeljacks do I need? I think you can get away with none.
Yeah,
But a unit of 6 is kind of cute.
the squad of 6 with dev wounds for like an Overwatch threat, like a rapid into Overwatch threat, is genuinely kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Like rapid into Overwatching that within Uther range, and then Overwatching with like your billion dev wound shots is kind
Yeah.
of cool. I think that
Or
would be interesting.
having them just hang out in a land fort in the transport detachment and reactively disembark them to absolutely fuck up a charger.
Overwatch, yeah, for sure. I think there's like tech for one squad. The 3-man melee ones seem like okay skirmishers. Okay skirmishers. I don't want to call them great. But you're probably going to play 15 to 18 Thunderkin, so
Yeah, probably.
that data sheet seems quite good.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I like it a lot.
All right,
I keep
guys.
trying to not write lists with 18 of them and then keep coming back to it.
You should stop doing that. All right, guys. I think that is going to be it for us for this week. Nathan's going to do our outro, but as always, if you've enjoyed the show, remember to do all the social things we said earlier. It really does mean a lot. We'll be back next week for episode 149, and for episode 50, we'll be doing our hot or not for every data sheet in the game. So we'll need to be getting that. Remember we spoke about that, Jeremy? We'll get
Yeah, I know. I have to
sorted.
build that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So yeah, please do check back in for the next couple of episodes. 150 is coming up very soon. We really do appreciate you all being here. Nathan, why don't you tell us about the $15 tier?
All right. If you join the most expensive tier on our Patreon, that's the $15 a month tier, which is a crisp high five. You get a bunch of benefits, one of which is every episode you get thanked at the end of that episode. Yeah, and a variety of in-person benefits. I just learned that there's a tab on the spreadsheet that says fan fiction section, and it actually has fan fiction in it. And that I read a blurb of it and was terrified, and now I'm back to the regular callouts tab. But if you join the $15 a month tab, you can also see the fan fiction tab that is there.
Do I want to know what kind of fan fiction it is? Is it about
It's
us?
Warhammer 4. No, it's Warhammer
No,
40K
no,
fan
it's
fiction.
it's stuff that I can't say on YouTube without us getting demonetized.
Okay,
Correct.
I'm just glad it's not about us.
One of them is about
Don't manifest that because someone will do that to you now.
One of them is about a dreadnought. That's all I'm going to say.
Like I can live with all of
right.
that.
The first one is thank you to Christopher. Hi, Nathan. I missed you, Irvine. Thank you to Willow Weeks. Thank you to Dan F. Thank you to Luke Herodens taking the subway McCarthy. Never stops being funny. Thank you to David running into spoiler, and DG is okay, I guess, Clark. Thank you to Exhausted. Thank you to James H. Thank you to Colton, Dan F. Miller. Thank you to Fungus. Thank you to John, V8 Gang. Oh God, I have to start WTC prep now, don't I? Question mark. Thank you to Cam, F. Dan, Morton, Hog Emoji, Hog Emoji. Thank you to Archon Rahal. Nothing silly this week. Just wishing everyone all the best with their events. Not updating this until after WTC. Well, it's after WTC. You should have updated it. Thank you to Josiah Gattle. Thank you to Dreadlord Frankie. Thank you to Isaac. I hate international travel, Tirada. Definitely.
Absolutely gutted for you, Isaac. I was heartbreaking following your story.
Yeah. Thank you to for giving Innes money. Thank you to Thomas at WTC. Hit me up if you're there for cohesion. Thank you to Stephen. I have nothing to say because I refuse to interact with the current meta. Ross. Thank you to Tom. That just goes to show you that you never know. Although what it is, we never know. I suspect we'll never know. H. Thank you to Oops. I accidentally deleted Richard's thing and forgot what it said, but towering was involved. Thank you to Will Ship Innis 20 Crew Carnivores if he wins the Super Major before finishing Couch to 5K. Thank you to Wargames Lives 2 new pet flies. Thank you to Come With Me on a Gucci Adventure trademark. Thank you to Winnis Ilson, and thank you to Give Custodes 4 Wounds Base. XD.
No, absolutely. 5 wound Storm Shield Terminator. Storm Shields can suck, can shove off. I'm not completing any.
On that note, thank you everyone for joining the tier. Thank you everyone for updating your callouts, and not thank you to whoever put a bunch of fan fiction back there. And they're, it's fine. You can.
It's making me laugh right now. So
it made me giggle, but also be horrified at the same time, which is probably the expected response. And on that note, bye-bye.
Oh, I'm not ready to go at all.